Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of LPL. We'll be with you shortly. And good evening to you, too.
欢迎来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛第3赛段，今天的比赛将在北京 JDG 主场进行，让我们有请双方对阵战队。
Gwen permabanned on the patch. Oh, you know what, I'll turn the camera on as well, why not? No Talir, very common first pick. Rumble is available, Varus just gone. Annie, Wukong, two powerful picks right now. Imagine they're looked at for first picks. D-ban away one of them. JDG, we haven't seen them on stage. We don't know if they have different priorities. And of course, by the way, folks, JDG, new coach as well. You see him on stage there. Clearlove. Clearlove now coaching for JDG. Scouts and Clearlove, EDG icons now under the halls of Jingdong Gaming. And Azir, first pick. So powerful. And I'm not going to lie, Scout's Azir is terrifying too. He's very good at using it in a macro sense to get access to side lane outer towers. I mention it a lot when he plays this champion specifically because he's so powerful. In that sense, no more 1v1s, no Uipo. We've done away with 1v1s. They took a little too long, especially in the 3 series days. It would end up adding an hour and a half onto the whole day, which is a bit much. If it was League of Legends Hall of Fame's caster version, who would I pick? Monte Cristo, 100%. I think that guy is an absolute legend, and is very unique in what he ended up doing. Been there since the start, and he's fantastic. Getting into second pass of the draft, Rumble was also available, so Azir for the Rumble trade. Locking in the Trundle. I don't like this business of blind picking Trundle. Yes, Kanavi did it and ended up getting a pentakill. You are not going to have Kanavi pentakills on Trundle in every single goddamn game. If Azir, we have Bring Your Daughter to Work Day now as well, as Sivir and Azir locked in. The Shuriman Ancestry duo locked in. Alistar there too, which is great because the Sivir kind of just wins the lane passively for the Alistar. Alistar doesn't need to worry about his bad level 1-2. Well, it's level 1 really, because Sivir just ricochets the wave and you don't really need to do that much at that level really.
However, we have immediately got Trundle value, Alex.
Yeah.
Killer the Sivir. She can't run away from that.
You're actually not wrong. There is something to that. Silas locked in now for rookie. Very aggressive top side of the map from IG. There's Sam, by the way, follow. Yeah. But the scaling damage from JDG already is nuts. The range is nuts. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing... I need to stop saying that. I'm looking forward to, or I'm excited to see what they'll do. Yeah, both sides of the map kind of contested now. Bot lane for JDG, top side for IG. Poppy banned away by IG, interestingly. Poppy Azir is quite a fun duo. So, good one to do away with that. What should Shin be thinking about here?
I think the thing is, he's got to pick up probably an AD skirmish, but he's got to be into Trundle, and that.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
Look, for all the odd drafts where Trundle gets like S tier value, one of the things is in a lot of the 1v1s, a lot of the jungle invaders, not much in the AD pool that deals with Trundle. You can do things historically like Kindred because you can just keep away from him. You
or
can
AP junglers.
Or AP junglers. But again, you've gone for Azir, and AP junglers right now are very niche again. Fated Ashes nerfs, mid lane AD champion nerfs. We are struggling to find good AD options there, so particularly when you are looking at things like Rumbles and Gwen's top sides as well, it's not easy.
Oh, hang on. And I just realized, and I need to keep my mind on this all the time. They already have Silas with an Alistar ult. They already have Silas with an Alistar ult.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about this Silas pick already.
No.
So I'm thinking, well, you know, low range Silas with an Alistar ult might
just be worth it by itself.
In itself, Silas is and the Azir, of course. We have Macedonian Warfare.
Very true.
Where I'm obligated to say this. Me, I promise I won't talk about the 256-man Macedonian phalanx. Me 3 drinks later. Both of them ult at the same time, and we have the push of pikes.
Never feed this man coffee.
No. Senna picked up for Gala. It allows you to play that aggressive dive over the top. You're not going to be contesting wave shove against the Sivir in the laning phase, but one of the good things about Sivir laning phases for the opponent is that also Sivir doesn't have kill threat against you that much, even if she pushes into you.
Wukong now locked in as well for Shun, who does love that champion dearly. I think it is very good, and actually arguably one of the better options into Trundle because you've got double interrupts, you can slide away quite easily. So even if you will lose the 1v1, because let's be real, you're a melee champion into Trundle who steals your stats. In fairness, actually a reminder, Wukong gets surprisingly tanky against AD at the very least because his passive gives you quite a lot of armor. Could be a bit annoying. Senna locked in for Gala as well. You've got a Silas Trundle playing towards topside type draft anyway, so Dawning Shadows is kind of your orbital support railgun. I see the value.
Cassante locked into the Trundle. The Rumble, yes, you can deal with that. Stacking the magic resist is very effective. And maybe they just think, look, we want to tank anyway. Even if the Trundle ults the Cassante, we can just E back out or W back out, and hopefully that'll be fine. Of course, a lot of Cassante's tankiness does come from his W damage reduction. Last pick Brawlmall and round off the draft. Not fantastic engage from IG overall.
Got the big brain out with the Cassante. Press R before Trundle presses R, and you've got no stats to steal. You've used them all already. Actually, what is that interaction? If Cassante presses R first and transmutes his stats,
the problem is
what happens with Subjugate?
Well, you just have less stats.
You just have less stats, because I wasn't sure if you... Because other resists gone at that.
So the problem is, if Trundle ults you and then you ult, then you get the Sejuani effect, where your passive wears off and you go negative, and it's pretty bad.
That was my worry.
So I think JDG have an incredible late-game damage scaling team comp. I think that their lanes are fine to good, and I think that IG are going to struggle to find good angles onto a long-range backline with Spell Shield, with Azir ult to peel away some of these aggressive skills and aggressive melees coming into it. That's going to be that first draft. Clearlove on stage, fist bumping for his first game as coach of JDG. So Scouts and Clearlove, EDG legends, joining the JDG conversation and organization in Beijing. Let's get into game one.
All right, folks, here in Beijing, it's JDG's home arena. They were close last split to being a very good team, had a very good run towards the end of it, but their inconsistencies earlier on really hurt them. Really hurt them. New top lane, of course. Chaoshu coming on in. Hayes, formerly of Gen G, of course, had a fantastic run with them last year. Looking on a little bit enviously, I have no doubt to in the team's recent success, looking to replicate it here in the LPL, but musing on stories, I have to wait a second or two, because the crowds are going to be given a moment to yell. Ooh, we get the rival chat leaders for JDG. We've got one yelling JDG from the left, and our usual Jing Dong call from the right. JDG's, one of them, chant leaders at least, is notorious for having a very resonant voice. Jing Dong! It's great.
That guy is, again, I just need that guy to just, maybe if I could ever get him screaming out something which I could use for like a sub alert or something like that, that'd be wonderful.
Maybe we just need to like pay
Omar.
Yeah, pay Omar or Iris or so one of our colleagues out in China to go like, yo, Paddy, could you find this man and record this for us? Whoa.
Nymaera!
Oh man, oh.
Could you imagine?
Shivers.
Red side invade from both teams. And Sam, also a bit of a storyline for you as well.
Oh, yeah.
This is somewhat before your time casting the LPL. Scout's going to get potentially chomped. Pillar first.
Level 2
if he can get just a chomp onto him, it would have been worth it. Now he's wasted the pillar. That sucks. He doesn't have the frozen domain to potentially
Shouldn't
do
have
that.
to pull off the red buff.
But he's already taken the Raptors, so it's camp for camp right now. Not the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but red buff obviously super valuable, and I think Shun's just going to have to leave this. And again, red buff on Trundle feels really good. What he'll do here is he'll do, I suspect, Krugs and then red. He might even just go Krugs, do bots, and come back for red, just to have the red buff up for as long as possible.
Rookie getting traded back on by Scouts. Nothing really coming of that cross across mid. But yes, that story, which I was going to say, Wink. Interesting player, Sam. He, not too long ago, was on IG themselves, 2v2.
Arn and Wink, indeed.
And it was Arn and Wink, yeah. And Wink, funnily enough, was, for a while, also an AD carry player for IG as well. He was a Draven player for IG, because everyone on IG was a Draven player. So Wink playing against an organization he spent a lot of time on, several years, in fact. Will be a unique experience for us as viewers. And it's his first game here on JDG. Xiaoshu, a bit of a different story for him, of course, but his first game for JDG as well, replacing the outgoing Arla. So Arla missing, gone from the roster. JDG, a much changed outfit, and also bringing in that new coach of Clear Love.
Clarity as well. Is it missing on the bench or gone?
They've made the farewell tweets.
Oh, so wow, he's gone. Because, I mean, I know there were some rumors that he might stay on the bench, but that is a big shift, especially because Missing had been at JDG for such a long time and been so good for them over so many years, but had a rough year this time around.
It feels like he's just like part of the furniture in JDG, you know, as in he's just there.
Yeah.
No, this guy was just so accepted as part of JDG. He was part of their was it 4 titles back to back? Yeah, he was there for the 4 titles back to back with the 2 in 2023 and then of course 22 summer as well. Sorry, the 3 back to back. Rookie going in for a harder trade there. Really nice to see the Macedonian Warfare matchup in our first game of the day for Rookie and Scout. Love these two players on these specific champions, and it's a very interactive matchup.
Wait, now coming back mid. Ooh, nice slide from Scout to get behind the Abduct, but is now in danger as a result of it. The pillar comes on down.
I mean, Wei is really zeroing in on Scout, saying, you are going to trade heavily in this lane. I'm going to make sure I'm here to just disrupt the lane. Now, the thing is, it doesn't deny Scout a wave. It does deny the flash. You've now spent 2 times walking across mid, giving up information, but not getting that much for it. Scout, I don't think, is unhappy. He hasn't died, hasn't dropped CS. He'll still be able to get back into the lane right now. He'll slide across the Nexus to get himself a slightly quicker entry into lane. You do that as you go back to lane sometimes. And Rookie has himself a Dark Seal, wants to start snowballing, but hasn't quite got that first angle yet.
Not as yet, but again, we know what this man can do, and I think Rookie in general has been on very good form at the start of the split. We had some inconsistencies, I think, from him in winter particularly, but in spring as well, where we'd see fantastic games for Rookies and then very perplexing ones. The moment we speak about that, Shun looking to return the favor that Wei put down. Fair amount of damage onto Rookie, who has to flash away from the soldiers coming careening for his face, so ends up losing most of his health bar there, and the summoner spell.
So both junglers now finding their way into mid lane. Scout picking up that recurve bow first, gives him a lot of extra DPS with the soldier's base damage and the lethal tempo as well. IG slight laning leads right now in terms of the individual gold lead. Actually, from jungle matchup, but Equalizer pulled topside.
It is indeed. The Shy trying to get this one shoved out. Actually, very good work there from Xiaoshu, who can now look for more. Still got all out to work with the Shy. Sidestepping well, yet to blow the flash. Flash now blown from Xiaoshu. I think the Shy is just dead. Still has a flash to go. We've got hit by the slow. Phase, not phase rush, just a little bit of Nimbus cloak. That's where he was getting that speed up from alongside the scrap shield. Either way, gets out of live trades, flash for flash and ult for ult.
Shy trying to get that wave pushed in. Xiaoshu was always a bit of a Cassante merchant. Good player of the champion. And for those of you who know our top teams in the LPL, but maybe don't pay as much attention to our mid and bot table teams, Xiaoshu was a mainstay as a good top laner in the middle to bottom tier of LPL pack of the top laners, really. This guy has been, much like many LPL top laners, someone who loves to play a bit of a duelist. He was very good on Cassante in the last few years as well, playing trade on the likes of Rare Atom. Potential dive on bot side, Pays staying for the extra auto attack, might cost him here.
Frozen Domain comes down, Pillar comes on top, and of course it is a Sivir. You're going to have to flash over those, and look who's waiting. Maker was there, hits him with a passive. Head injury assessment required as the concussive blows. A stacked Wink now in danger, also hit with that passive. Shun tries to force Carla away, but now he's gone very deep. Xiaoshu's roaming down the lane. Wink headbutting away onto Wei. Actually, arguably keeps him alive. The
Last embrace.
That's the one. Thank you very much. Came on. It was going to call Steadfast Presence. It's like, no, that's Poppy. And I ended up pausing my play-by-play just briefly. Record stutter there, but we're all right. Fortunately, there's a second caster to fill in the gaps.
Shun, over-aggressive, loses his flash quite unnecessarily there. as Pays stays for an auto attack too long. Got teleports coming out from Spellbook Spite now, potentially. Wink's armed and ready with his. Mako can use his to get across the map too, next time of asking. And IG get themselves first blood onto Pays' Sivir. Now, this time, start of the year, start of the split, when we came into it, when we were talking about JDG roster changes, much like we've been doing now in their first game. Earlier in the year, we were talking about Pays coming over from Gen G, the crazy dominant team of last year. Of course, continues to be crazy dominant into this year too. And Pays has been a very good addition to JDG, considering the outgoing ruler. Not many people can fill shoes like that. Pays, do I think he's completely filled them? No, but I do think he has put in a hell of a lot of work here for JDG. He is often required to have good pack carry performances in JDG to show their peak. Dying there will not help.
Of course, you can see Shun coming on up now. Has got level 6 to work with Pillar. Comes now the bottle rocket up. Maybe trying to find some value back onto Rookie. We've seen a lot of people overstay around grubs. You only need 2.
Which ult is Rookie going to steal? Alistar ult, Azir ult, both prime candidates here.
Kong potentially, I suppose, as well, if he feels the need for the Cyclone. Couple decent options. Alistar, obviously, we know, being very, very strong. 1200 HP on the second grub. Shun like he's going to smite that one away. Does do so. Actually, no, he messed it up. It was early. IG get 2 and are happy to back off.
Okay, so IG, Wei ends up getting that. Oh, Q. I'm gonna go on. So Wei will not be able to. Yeah, Wei will not be able to. Rather, Mako will not be able to get the third. But IG getting 2 grubs is nice for them. Stops. It stops Azir from being as powerful in that side lane, which we talked about in draft being so powerful. Pays gets caught out by a good pillar. Doesn't have cleanses, running the barrier instead. Gets hit by that Brawn passive, and is pretty much lights out from there. I was surprised that Shun thought he could go for a turnaround play here. Goes immediately in to get Brawn passived, and then gets damaged. I suppose he thinks maybe they can buy time with flash combo as Wink messed up the combo. If that combo comes through, I mean, there's a world in which Xiaoxu can clean up. So, awkward play there from Wink against his former team.
See what they can do with that. Either way, slightly unfortunate. JDG end up being down only the 1 kill. It could have gotten a lot worse there. Early grubs to IG. Gold leads there, but it's only a couple hundreds. Really leading to all that much as it stands. Decent lead for Scout in the mid lane, but again, Azir into the Sylas can get a little bit miserable for the Sylas at a certain point. Of course, Rookie did have to have his flash blown, which kind of mitigated all of the advantage and pressure he did have a little earlier on.
When's the next big fight? Dragon's up. Wei can take that as the Trundle. Do JDG want to contest it? Yet to see Sylas get involved too heavily with the skirmishes. Had a couple of plays through his lane. I am very worried for JDG that Rookie's first ult of the game is going to be something like that Alistar ult, and they're going to
cry a bit.
Really underestimate that. You know, Sylas with an Alistar ult is just not fair. It's just not a fair champion. Turns out being able to get like an extra 2 Ws through your rotation is not really what the champion was balanced around. IG using their 2 grubs now for Senna to push in on that bot side of the map. We'll get that first plate. And Xiaoxu can't really stop Senna from hitting plates.
I remember when plates first came out, and it was kind of just as Aphelios was releasing, just as Senna was releasing. And one of the issues we used to see the likes of Double Lip try and play the Senna. One of the reasons why he was struggling on the Senna was because you couldn't trade in the lane swaps for plates very well. Senna was just an awful plate taker.
That is such a dick move. Ends up body blocking both Rumble E's to make sure the cannon doesn't get taken by the Shy. Contest over the Raptors. Shun will take those. And even-ish early game. JDG down a little bit of gold. They'll really want to pick up some value for this Azir soon, once he starts cresting that first item and can start again pushing waves more effectively, hitting towers more effectively. Low health Xiaoxu. Is he going to get full dive?
Not, dude. Takes an auto Q for the soul. And they go. Mako looking to get the pass down and does so. W comes on full Glacier Fish just wide, but I think he still just dies. The Piercing Darkness will headshot Cassante. Nice dive from Invictus Gaming.
Very clean. And that was as well as Xiaoxu could have played that too. He ends up getting the W damage reduction onto the Brawn passive, and also getting the technically unstoppable nature of that too. Teleport back in, but this turret is still gonna, it's just gonna go down. Here comes Azir.
Oh boy, Scout is here. The shuffle away, but still hit by the last embrace. Doesn't really get to go all that far. Wave flashing on out. Mako's TP'd back in. Won't lead to all that much. Curse. The black mist comes down from Garlet. Dead men tell no tale.
I just realized the problem with that play from IG. Like, wow, no, IG can just kill the tower and kill him into your rise. Azir could have put up another turret in its stead by right-clicking it with the passive. Any other mid laner probably would have died there. Scout saves the turrets, will immediately back off because he's afraid of a redive. Doesn't die in that initial attempt.
Second kill though for Gala, who is feeling very pleased here. And again, a center that gets to brawl early is a center with more souls early, and that is nice work on about 38 or so here.
That's really good.
For 12 minutes in. Again, it used to be about 70 at 20 as it stands. It's been a lot lower than that since the nerfs, but right now Gala on a good clip.
So this is because this is farming center, not fasting center, so it does change because you actually are trying to, you pick up less souls when you're actually taking the minions. Before MSI, I think at 20 minutes you were thinking around about 60 in pro play, because you're not able to get at optimal stats because you do need to move in relation to your team. However, at MSI it dropped a little bit down to about 55 to 50 because the percent drop rate did drop a little bit more. So if you end up getting, he's got 42 already.
He's just fought a lot. Double kills early.
He's fought a lot. He's ended up roaming around the map and picking up big waves. Now he has the Shiv, which will give him instant wave clear to just push, roam, get more souls, and get more chance to hit things. Gala, who had a lot of criticism in their first series versus Top Esports, that Corky game in Game 3 will haunt him.
It wasn't great.
It was game losing. If he can have a good game here on the center versus JDG, perhaps he can start to rectify some of those wrongs. Had a great series just the other day versus Team WE. His Kaiser, of course, was legendary in that game.
Of course, you don't look at the other side, it's Pays, right, who I think for many people was MVP AD carry last split, right up there. He was really, really good.
I think I put him on my MVP list as well. Not that we get MVP votes, but
we were invited to certainly contribute to the LPL English one, which was really cool.
Yeah, and I put Pays as, I think, second MVP because of his clutch nature in those games and good team fighting. JDG were looking like a top team just before playoffs, and they were for bits of playoffs, and then they got dunked down a couple of times, and the story ended a lot earlier than they would have liked to, especially because playoffs was on their stage as well in Beijing. It was a bit of a dishonorable exit.
It was a bit. Hayes going to feel a bit frustrated by that. I think Scout in particular had a mare of the playoffs. It just wasn't what we expected from that player at all. Now looking to come and rectify things here in summer.
Yeah, and I think Shun can't escape that criticism either. However, I will say I expect great things of these players while we do level criticism at them. It's not like we expect them to say it that way. These players are well-versed in excellence, and actually one of the big reasons why they were in playoffs in general was because of Shun's clutch early pathing and his clutch playmaking alongside Pays as the aforementioned AD carry of JDG. IG, I mean, I wouldn't have penciled in IG as a better performing team than JDG in that last split, but they somehow managed that in the playoffs. Shun now has Cyclone, first item, ready to fight. We do have Herald and Dragon Spawn at the same time, so some macro shenanigans shall ensue.
Indeed, actually, a bit of an engaged topside Rookie, going to go for the Macedonian Phalanx! There we go, Rookie goes in. It's a flash blown though alongside the ult, so Rookie comes out slightly worse for wear.
Tell me you're a fan of Rome Total War without telling me you're a fan of Rome Total War. Scout, does he have his E cooldown? I don't think he does. It's a problem now.
It's a long cooldown at this point. Now has to flash, Abductious wide, and that'll be a trade back, but now Mako getting traded on by the 4-man unit. Gala flashes away from the engagement. Wing throws down the Dawning Shadow. Equalizer comes down. Glacial Fissure also there. Ice and fire everywhere. George R.R. Martin couldn't finish that book, I don't think either. All the while, Xiaoshu going to get some value out as the Spike comes on down and no one dies.
IG's defense in that mid lane put out so much more damage than I was expecting. The first item, Spike, gives so much AoE damage from the Shiv proccing from the center, from the, of course, the Leandri's Equalizer, and IG, despite not getting that much out of the play, will end up getting themselves the Herald off of it due to just the crazy amount of turnaround burst they had. I for sure thought they were going to be losing in that mid lane play because of the Wukong one item Cyclone. Doesn't end up that way though.
Gets them beats of strength as well because that's their third objective. And the upgraded boots cost them a fair amount of summoners there. Gala down both, Maker's down his flash, not been exactly for free.
And the more I watch this game, the more I watch these kind of early skirmishes, the more I am reminded of the last time that these two teams played, it was absolute cinema. Both series between JDG and IG last split were top-notch entertainment fests with the game 3 of their first matchup in the regular season. Last split had 2 Baron steals into a Nexus to Nexus. I've never seen anything like it. Of course, IG, one of the big reasons they won that game was JJ in the jungle for them. Way now playing for the team. He played well, I think, in their first 2 series. Well, Pays might have his flash forced hit.
Got slowed by the piercing darkness. Good spell shield on the chop.
Walked a little close to the wall there. Meant that he was forced to flash. could kind of minion blocked away from the wall, you know, like the Onivia thing completely cutting off one direction to walk. Dragon now going to get started. No flash for FaZe will make the team fights harder. Make a quartz.
Throws up the Unbreakable, will be more than okay as it stands. Got a Ghost and a Heal to work with here, courtesy of Spellbook. 1500 HP, Dragon secured. Couple souls that God would love to get, but I don't know if he's going to get time. Glacier Fisher comes on down, Shun looking. Close down the Warrior Trickster, won't quite find it. Curse the Black Mist now from Gala. Continue to get some Piercing Darkness through everyone. Rookie is TP'd in. What angle will he find? The Equalizer out into Shy in the backline. Onto Base, he's got no flash, because there goes Rookie. Got the Alistair ult as well. Unbreakable Will comes on forward. Shun can't find anything. Wink will headbutt Rookie away, but the Abduct lands onto Scouts. Unfortunately, my Emperor, there's a few people who'd like to sell you for some ransom. Rookie goes forwards again, kills off the Alistair. Scout slides into the backline and brings down Gala, but that is the lone win JDG find. It's an ace and Dragon for Invictus Gaming.
IG stomp home the early game fight, winning the Dragon and getting the bot lane skirmish in their favor. Silas with the Alistair ult comes to play, and JDG don't have a good enough disengage option. They're going to lose some camps. They're going to lose a wave or two in mid lane too. Can we actually kill the whole turret here? I mean, Trump Trundle is really good at killing towers. They just take up the straight up, take the mid lane out of turret. IG, huge win for them.
And now we find ourselves 5k ahead, and we can look at this replay again because they're late to the Dragon and JDG still can't find anything.
Mako has been playing the disengage of these fights really, really well. These are all fights, though, that JDG are choosing. They're choosing the fights, and they're losing. Pei's got massively damaged by the Shy at the start of the fight. The solo laners of Invictus Gaming fame destroying the Sivir, but she doesn't have the items to stand and fight yet, especially not against the Silas with the Alistair ult, as we've mentioned before. Scout gets one back in the play, but it just feels so little compared to what they just lost.
Gala will eventually die. Scout goes sliding forwards and manages to at least get one back. Gets the shutdown as well, and that's lovely and all, but it is a very minor victory when the game state is looking really ugly.
Nigh on 5k advantage now for IG. 2 items for that seller. He's using them well.
This Trundle 1600 gold ahead, puts down a pillar in the choke point, and everyone's just dying. The bonks keep flying. Shun's been blast cone back. We'll at least get Gala again, as he did get in there, but the Shy will trade back out. Way throws down the Subjugate to 3-for-1.
Where has this Invictus Gaming been? This is top draw creative skirmishing. JDG are buying into the fights and IG are better at them. Wonderful first game from IG, going over a 5,000 advantage, and they're continuing to push forwards. Before 20 minutes, crushing the mid lane in a turret. JDG, they wanted a slow scaling game to allow the Azir and Sivir, the bring your daughter to work day from the Shuriman Emperor, to get damage, to get their range scaling duo ahead. They've not been able to do that at all. This Sivir is now 0-3-1, and someone who was on my MVP shortlist from last split has been crushed out of this game. It's another play where JDG are just not really in position to fight, but they've kind of bought into it anyway. They clump up as 3, they walk into the top side of the map, and the blast code into the back does get Gala killed, but Shun goes down for it.
There you go. Pei says, go forth and kill him. I appreciate it. Gets Ricochet back on. And I think probably the problem is now for the Sivir, you're very short range. Yes, your Ricochets can bounce through everyone, but if you're in range to auto someone, you're in range for a Braum Q, a Silas engage, Trundle Pillar, Flame Spitter from a Rumble. It is not an easy game to stand there and deliver, especially if your front line just melts in front of the firepower of Invictus Gaming.
I for one, am just so happy we get another series between JDG and Invictus Gaming. I think last split, this was my favorite series played across the world, that first regular season matchup.
It was so cool.
Not because it was the best gameplay, there were definitely moments where they were lacking, but the sheer entertainment value you cannot deny. And right here again, both teams ready to brawl. IG have just ended up picking up a bigger early game stick and whacking JDG over the head with it.
Atakan started as a known quantity. Mako now body blocking. Not going to be the easiest to get in here. Shun coming on in, teleports flying. We have got ourselves another brawl. Atakan has been the side of some disasters. Rookie on a flank angle with the Unbreakable Will in inventory. It's hijacked for value. Shun trying to get some value, but he's rooted up for a little bit. The Equalizer comes on down on top of the Glacial Fissure. Fire and Ice again, and the Wukong is down. Wink in the backline. There's Rookie in the 1v3. Will Unbreakable. Sundisk meaning nothing. The Rebel.
The frickin' Alistair, what can they do?
Oh, Paze is gone as well. There's just not enough damage. Flash on forwards, running away. Can't find anything. It's a triple kill to Gala. They keep looking for more way. Looking for the pillar on the frozen domain. Hunting for a little bit more. Another option. Dead man's blade speed. Found Paze, run. He can't do it. and Invictus Gaming pick up another.
Invictus Gaming will end off a clean ace. All out means nothing. It's just a quick hop, skip, and a jump towards the graveyard as Invictus Gaming crush another fight. This time around, the Atakan Shun, old IG jungler, of course, where he started his career, tried to look for the initial engage and perhaps a smite steal, but all he ended up doing was losing his mobility and getting stuck into that tri-brush into an equalizer. The Shy's equalizer was so disgusting alongside that Dawning Shadow. It'll be a third dragon to make things even worse for JDG. And with a 10,000 gold advantage, IG have just destroyed the fight. Once again, the unbreakable Will Silas has totally ruined these team fights for JDG. They still commit to the contest, knowing that the Alistar ult is on the Silas. I don't think they should ever have looked for a fight here in a million years. He ends up dodging out with the Proto Belt onto the Azir ult. It was short range, very, very closely missed there. We already talked about the choke point, equalizer being a big threat, and then Rookie says, well, I mean, I've got this whole damage reduction thing. He has a Rift Maker too for the extended fight. The Alistar ult means he can take that extended fight, and there is just way too much damage. He gets a million Ws and ends up over half HP after tanking up 3 people.
Gala gets a triple kill, but Rookie just buying up the time of 3 people. What a Sivir and Azir! You'd expect their DPS check to be pretty damn good. That is just the value of Alistar ult.
And the DPS check was happening just before they hit those second items, realistically. I believe they were just behind their second item. Realistically, they needed those, or maybe that 2.5 to 3 items, realistically. IG, wonderful game from them. Picking the right fights. I think JDG have bought into those fights a bit too much. I'm a little disappointed that JDG have not shown composure and not living up to that age-old adage of discretion is the better part of valor. They would have needed a little bit more of that. Try and survive some of these fights.
Hijacked it again. Rookie's got the Unbreakable Wall, and they're all under this tier 2. I just don't know how much safety it gives you. The pillar down, equalizer as well. Dawning Shadow. It is Carpets of Doom wherever you care to look. Just need Kiana Jones to go with it. Half HP on the turret. Don't overforce it in the end, actually. JDG managed to hold the line just about, and IG unwilling to fully dive.
Yeah, that equalizer, they're doing so much work. JDG have defender's advantage, where they get there closer to their base, so they can recall, come out with home guards, and regen up. IG 3 minutes until the dragon. And typically, about this time, we'd be thinking about, oh, well, we got to wait until the next dragon, we got to wait for blah, blah, blah to spawn, because most teams across the world have kind of taken the handshake of only fighting around objective spawns. That has, not been the case.
No.
Not been the case here. As Invictus Gaming, this is why so many people are in love with this team. And in love with not just the history of these players and how they've done this across the years, but just the gameplay that they're pulling out right now. The top tier skirmishing is way takes a chomp of rare steak.
Shun will be able to Warrior Trickster over the other side of it, and that's fine. Of course, at this point, we probably want to check in on some of those stacks. Rookie has got 10 of them on the Dark Seal. He is the Dark Lord this game. All the while as well, looking over at Gala, 90-odd stacks. He's getting very scary on this center with an Infinity Edge in inventory as well, and Baron started. Here we go again.
All right, JDG, what do you got on you? The Alistar ult has time out of Rookie now. Could hold on to it. Looks for the fight.
Oh, he gets in anyway. All the while, Scout gets a shuffle back onto the Shy, but it means nothing as Rookie and Mako continue to cause chaos. Havoc in the backline, a chain lash, and more bonks come on through. A triple to the Trundle. It might be a quadra to the Trundle. It's not, as of course Rookie picks up at least one more.
Only Kanavi is allowed to penta on the Troll King. IG won't even need the Baron. They'll break the base. You know what? They might end the whole goddamn game. Trundle is an expert at tower killing, as is Silas when he gets to start ripping through those passages. Clearing the wave. They want the game end.
It's going to be over in 26 minutes. Invictus Gaming are ruthless. Every player smashing in the fight, smashing in the lane, and bring us to a 1-0 start. JDG go back to the drawing board. You have been sucker punched in game 1.
Invictus Gaming have made a habit of beating JDG in dominant fashion, or at least an exciting fashion, in front of their home crowd. JDG will lose their first game of the split in front of their Beijing home crowd, 1-0 to Invictus Gaming.
Hello there, folks.
I
I'm
totally didn't
Initialise.
forget to change the volume as we went into game, and no one talked about it in chat, so I'm going to assume that it was fine.
Fine, yeah. I've got...
the regular crowd chant leader is not there from JDG.
He is. He's just on the other side. There was two.
Well,
There was two leaders.
Well,
last
right
time.
there. I didn't hear him there. None of that that traditional jing dong. It's a different guy. Very clearly that.
Yeah, he was there. He was there in game 1. Over on, but it was really interesting because you could hear one on the left-hand side. And
Okay,
one on
all
the
I'm
right.
saying is he didn't do the gyro there, Sam.
wow.
That's all I'm saying.
Incredible stuff. Drama in the JDG fan community. Let's help with a statistical analysis of what's happening in the background.
JDG get themselves very strong early lanes here. Now, I think that IG did a really good job of answering them. Typically, you look at this draft, you think, Renekton, wow, early game. Annie, great laning phase right now too. Varus, awesome. But Jhin nullifies the Varus. Aurora beats the Renekton. Victor survives the Annie, then eventually gives a ton of issues once you get to 2 items. Very hard for the Annie to full burst the Victor out. He's become much more of a kind of tanky battle mage. Shy using the grasp in his top side too. The Shy has been very lane dominant on this pick. Hasn't always converted into wins, but if he goes towards, you know, the Leandri's Riftmaker, which has been very popular on the Aurora, I think that's a very, very powerful play.
And Spirit Abjuration is just miserable passive from Aurora for the Renekton. You get the move speed, so you outspace him, and he's consistently getting, I think it's like, it's 2% or 2.5% of someone's max HP per prot, per like 3 or like 3 spell
when you get
proc.
the 3-hit passive, yeah.
Plus AP scaling. So just as the game goes on, Renekton's like, I've got HP. No, you don't anymore. I keep punishing you for building HP. It's really miserable.
Yeah, Aurora just really, really good in those extended trades, particularly when it synergizes so well with what is already the most powerful mage item combo right now is Leandri's Riftmaker.
Yeah.
I think in the past it wasn't, but now it just feels with a ton of HP, the HP transferring into damage, and the percent damage increases stacking on top of each other multiplicatively. So it's not just 6% plus 8%, it's 6% plus 8% plus a little bit extra because there's like 8% times 6%, so it's like an extra 1% on top of that too, basically, on there. Which is, yeah, it's very, very powerful between the both of them. And Aurora's combo as well, it works very well with that too, because what you do is you QE, and then you wait for both items to stack up, and then you pull back the Q after the damage increase has already been applied. Rookie's trading very well here against Scout in the early lane, getting the wave push and some good trades.
Exactly that. And again, last game we were saying, look, IG want to get the ball rolling, or Sivir is here, scaling's going to come on through and things get tricky. JDG, it's kind of their turn to try and pull that off, because as we said, look, if the game gets late enough that Victor and Aurora and Jhin are kind of standing miles away and you've got to deal with them, you're going to struggle to burst people out in good order, then things get tricky. The problem is that the lanes are not the same, and yeah, we were talking about those passives. Ow!
Yeah, and this is one of the more nasty things about the Aurora into that too. You can buffer through the stun. Shin coming for a dive though, can use that W to reset aggro.
Bit of chunk onto Pays there. Garlic gets his reset through, gets a fair amount of damage. Pays in danger. Flash away from Garlic, gets a deadly flourish on the backline. Onto Wink, they will get the kill. Flash out from Shun. And they escape. 1 kill secured, but it took a little bit of work.
Neferi W resets the tower aggro. Always been a powerful usage in pro play if you can stop tower shots going through. They'll stop the recall coming through from Shun. Rookie had walked his way down to the play. So what's going to happen now is Jin's going to walk into mid lane, collect the last of that wave. Victor will recall after sorting out the bot wave in the way that the 2v2 wants. Or in this case, maybe the Shy will go down there too. And then he'll recall, teleport back into mid lane, and then either Jhin or Aurora will take up that post again.
And they do get the kill, and importantly, Don Tagala, who ends up dropping a little bit of that wave there. But as you said, he gets to pick up the mid lane wave. So actually, IG doing a decent job of making sure that people still get a hold of farm.
However, JDG kill onto the Neferi. Neferi into the Jarvan, great matchup. And I don't think there's anyone on IG which the Neferi can't give huge issues to later into the game. I think one of the saving graces of this, because I do agree that IG do have some very good scaling factors. I don't think this is a complete wash late game though. Yeah, at all. I think that JDG can kill the first target. Jarvan, burstable. Rakan, burstable. Aurora Jhin also to a certain level too. And yes, you do have the HP on the solo laners from the items they built. on that bot wave. He'll go through bot jungle, get some plays through that. IG not getting any grubs is a bit annoying for them. The Aurora typically hits towers very, very well, and grubs can make that into significant plate gold. JDG moving well towards their strong side of the map, i.e. the map with the pushing CC, Annie locked and loaded. Rookie not going for any HP in his early build makes him a lot more susceptible to this style of play. He never wants to be weak side on the map with this build. You can be with a Rod of Ages because you can just about survive and at least get the Chaos Storm or the Grav Field to do your work under tower. Now, this is the problem with the Rakan as well. It's actually very dangerous walking into situations like this. You are very squishy and you're very mobile, but if you ever get caught, it's a problem.
Managed to escape and make up enough with that mobility there. Flags and drags away.
Thanks to stun, but of course Sandy doesn't stop that, which is very powerful. There's some very fun things which do stop dashes like that, actually. Like Lyssandra's ult stops dashes mid-flight, interestingly. It's one of the reasons we can't like dash away from them or Ariel away from them.
How does REE work with flag and drag? 'Cause obviously I know that like REE is a dash canceller of sorts.
Well, it will work exactly the same way that any other kind of displacement works with this in regards to if Jarvan is already moving, it will stop the movement. If the movement hasn't started,
I guess
it will go. The same kind of thing with Tristana. If the movement is started, it can be stopped. Otherwise, they'll yeah, because Jarvan and Tristana, they can quote unquote buffer where they cast the spell. They'll take a little bit of a delay, then start moving. And League of Legends, the rule of thumb is the latest movement to be applied takes precedent. So you hit someone after they're moving. That's when it stops it.
Dragon. See Spider-Naut.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest ones in the game. If the hook's in flight, hasn't hit the wall yet, he can still move. Gotta be timing them very well. Hookshot as well, another big one. Fighting up the Scuttle Crab, Dragon has spawned. IG. This is the kind of fight which can lose you the game. You do not want to buy into this too easily.
They pull away. Scuttle Crab secured. A couple of wards there in that bush. They have a sweeper. Not as yet. Scout now farming up his bot side wave best he can.
3 kills on this Neferi. Shun having an awesome game on the Neferi so far. And Shun, you know, he was all smiles and laughter earlier. A very joyful player to watch on stage. Seems like he's a real cheat code for team environment. Him having 3 kills will definitely help with the team environment too. He was one of the reasons why JDG flourished so greatly in regular season last split. One of the few teams to beat BLG when they were on the hot streak towards the end of the split. It was only them and Anyone's Legend which managed to take wins off of them. Of course, JDG couldn't do that in playoffs because they didn't face BLG in playoffs. They bombed out against WE, and that was the problem. Shun and Scout fell off during playoffs.
Not great.
And it was really not what we wanted to see from them. They've made some changes, not to those players, to jungle and to support. Dragon's been started up. Wait, we'll see it.
Have to eviscerate over the wall. Mako also around does not have Spellbook Smite, always worth noting with supports at this era of League of Legends.
Okay, so we're getting into a big fight now. No first items really there yet. Varus the only one with that, and we'll be able to use that. IG, I'm glad they are not blindly going into these fights. If you fight right now and you give crazy fight over to the Neferi, that is how you lose this game. JDG, that's why they're playing so boldly, and it's the correct thing for them to do. Just give that hanging option to say, okay, IG, we're going to take something important. We're going to take a dragon. We're going to push into your side of the jungle. Do you have a response? And the answer right now has been no.
And there's that extra half item now from Shun, who has showed you for a while. This Neferi is scary. 3-0, and gets another dragon. That is the mark towards feat of strength as well. They will, of course, already got the first 3 kills. So I think that is, in fact, just feat of strength now, as I do my kind of logical processes there, such as they are in my brain. And they are in a really good spot this game now.
Malignance for Scout built up, so he has cooldown core completed between Boots and Malignance. Jin has Collector, which is, nice for those first item early game spikes. I guess he will be going towards something like the Fire Cannon next. You've got double AP solo in, as you feel less important, less like you need to go for full crazy damage, because it's not like there's too much armor on the other side. And yeah, the Rod of Ages built up for the Shy. Haven't seen first item for Rookie because he's invested in tier 2 boots, going towards what looks to be that Black Fire. Maker Court
cleanses out. Of course, Spellbook does give him that opportunity, and I can see why you would run that on a Rakan in this game if you've got the opportunity. Change that straight on over to the Ghost. Heal as well.
Rookie level 11. Herald spawning in 20 seconds. Oh, jumping on Paze. Want to force the splash.
Trying to get some value here. The heal comes on through. Paze does. Flash and gets out. But now the turnaround with the Magnus one comes on through. Way potentially dangerous. Shun could potentially look to call a back slash. Go on the hunt. Will not be able to find it. And they get out to safety.
Varus losing Flash. Obviously a big win there for IG, but not having the Flash Cataclysm is also a negative for IG. Herald's going to get started, and with the Jarvan being low, I don't think IG have any right to contest this. They will give over yet another objective in this early game. And IG waiting for their moment. How much are they going to give up before they actually give a fight, though? It'd be very, very dangerous to give over way too many resources.
Dragon again at Soul Point in about 3 minutes. Maybe that's what you go towards. Rookie's actually going to come on up and steal it! With the Death Ray! Oh no, that's foul. Now Shun is in danger. Use the Call of the Pack to get DPS on the Herald. Good work from the mid laner. Out comes the Arcane Storm. Mako with the quickness. Scout forced to flash as well.
Rookie with the Merc Treads, playing so aggressively in front of the Annie there now too. Gala, what are you doing, my friend?
Run it by Paze. It just gets hit by the arrow.
That was an awesome play from IG at the start to get the Herald, but Gala gives a big win over the JDG. We were praising him for his Senna and his last series, particularly that Kai'Sa. That was such a brain-off maneuver, though. There's no support there. You're half HP. What in the world are you thinking of walking in there? Big mistake. As Gala goes down and gives a freebie kill and burns the Flash.
This is a Varus with no ult and no flash who just autos him down, basically. He just gets to do it, hits the big Ghost Blade empowered piercing arrow with that W. The Blight stack's doing a lot of work, and it's a dead Jin. And that really undoes a lot of what IG has just done so well in the river.
That being said, though, I mean, Rookie, man, Rookie. It's been a while since Rookie's been on consistent form, but looking through all of his first series, I think Rookie's been great. I think Rookie's been very, very good.
Yeah.
I think he was the better mid laner versus top esports. I think versus WE, he single-handedly carried certain games there. And that last, that E over the wall, he was out of vision. They didn't see him anywhere nearby, but the smite discipline poor from Shun. Sometimes you just have to, yeah, do that. And Gala's clearing vision, he's half HP, and he just walks up into fog of war. There is no reason to walk up it. Gala, my friend, that's just not it. Red buff, E slow, flashes to get hit anyway. At least save the summon, you know. The redemption even being late too. That's a bad moment for Gala.
I wanted to put a trap down to get some vision, and he's doing it by himself. Just gets horribly, horribly punished. Minute until Dragon. We are starting to get first items through for IG, and it was the Black Fire Torch, by the way, from Rookie, so a bit of a higher damage burn build than the Robo, which comes online a little later.
And we'll see whether it goes towards something like the Horizon Focus or the Cosmic Drive's been very popular on Victor because it gives you movement speed, which Victor can use very, very well as the Battle Mage. That minute timer ticking down a little bit more. Gala will look to try and right the wrongs of that mistake he just made. 1,000 gold the lead still for JDG. Yet to see a huge fight so far. It really has just been small skirmishes. IG not really giving up a field battle yet.
Alright. First turret likely going to go over to Xiaoshu here after the early kill on Fazaz. Actually managed pretty okay here. Stayed even in CS.
Yeah, done very well.
With gold. Pretty alright here. Mako walking away there with the grand entrance. JDG are in the river and in control.
Do IG really want to give... I mean, you can technically give one more dragon, but it's not the best. Shun will steal away that camp. Wei falling behind over half a level now too. Herald and bot side. Rookie had that inventory. That will take down the bot lane outer turret, and if left unattended, could push in towards the inner turret too. Dragon has spawned, Rookie making the most of that objective in inventory.
How many smite charges Wei has, but I wonder whether he was just saying, look, I need to hold my smite for Dragon, he's only got one in inventory.
I think this fight is all about how much work the Victor can do. Maybe you can get a good enough Aurora play, but it's not bursty Aurora. Dragon started, ult from Jhin called out very early.
A fair amount of damage. Scout! Oh my god! The damage onto Mako goes half away for a second or two, but burns out to the Dragons. Actually, turn around onto the Relic. Support for support. Good fourth shot. Now the Shy is here. Damage onto Xiaoshu. Wei goes looking for a flag and drag, but can't find anything with the Dragon Strike. Chain to go wide. Rookie now trying to hop away. Shun's gone quite deep for this. Shield comes on down from Wei. Buys some time. Good for Shy! In comes the Cataclysm, and between worlds they go. Shun dies as well! And oh my days, the solo lanes of Invictus Gaming are here to party.
IG spend 19 minutes not giving a fixed battle, avoiding JDG's early power spike, and then they outplay. Mako gets caught. We warned about the Rakan not being very tanky into a point-and-click team, and Scout starts to fight well, but IG gets such a huge amount of damage after JDG got a little too over-eager. They get the Dragon, they get gold in hand, and they get a gold swing of about 3,000 gold in the space of the last minute or so. Huge, huge play from Invictus Gaming to get themselves into the lead. Starts off with the Jhin ult being pulled, forcing onto Wink, but this is the problem with the Rakan as opposed to the Leona or a Nautilus or something like that into the Annie. You do get instantly blown up. Gala gets the fourth shot, and that's where things get really interesting. Much less threat onto the backline now with no Flash Magnet Storm. The old Invictus Gaming support going down. Rookie flashing out of both the Neferi and the Jhin ult. Another bad sign for them, and suddenly their threat is gone.
Deadly Flourish onto the Varus. That's how he got locked down for the Flag and Drag and the Cataclysm, and then Xiaoshu and the Neferi get caught out by the burn. It ends up being a deceptively great fight from Gala, but now Rookie's in danger. Redemption's coming on down. The exhaust comes on through, keeping him from doing too much damage, and they will finally get a hold of that Victor. 3 members going up there, and Atakan's around, and they're starting it up at JDG.
Now, Scout doesn't have teleport and will have to back off. Do they give up the Atakan for mid lane turret? Pace has flash. You would be able to get out of a Cataclysm. It's coming up in a couple of seconds.
Wait, tries to get the Flag and Drag down. There's the Realm. Mako also coming around. Wink potentially in.
Atakan should still be being taken. They're pinging onto it. There are red pings. Choosing to peel off of it now. It was on vision the whole time.
The Shy is here. Needs to be a little wary. Walks across the false light alteration. Way now in danger. Xiaoshu makes the Dominus happen. The Shy goes across the Veil. May need to E away. Gets a fair amount of damage back. They're getting damage onto Mako. Massive Magnet Storm though. Chains of Corruption come on through. Flash away between worlds is pretty good. But look who else is here. It's Scout, who's managed to find an angle on in, and they bring down 2 Invictus Gaming members.
They bring down 3. Mako dies as well. IG tried to defend the Atakan. Rookie not being there means they don't have the turnaround damage. Once again, JDG take the lead. Rookie had a great play around the Dragon, as did Gala. But IG, they go a little too deep, and they this is the fight they didn't want to give. They've done the hard work to get ahead. JDG see the arrogance of them walking up and find a great fight.
Rookie now trading out with Scout, throws down the gravity field. Tibbers is hitting, trying to turn that back though with the Hextech Storm. Stun comes on through. Tibbers is running. Malignant Spell not quite there. Oh my days, the Arcade Storm burn of the Blackfire Torch. It gets bloody close both ways.
Yeah, the Bloodletter ticking down magic resist in the damage over time, and also giving some tankiness. It is a very strong 2-item build for the Victor, but JDG will get themselves the Atakan. How does this start? I mean, Gala was in range to pull out an ult, pull out a W. I thought the exhaust was going to be enough, but Wink, after failing at the Dragon fight, 4-man Magnet Storm. Again, the old Invictus Gaming support gets a huge value out of that play.
That was straight up nasty. Not many other ways to put it. Now the goal is pretty much even, to be fair. A couple turrets picked up by IG is nice, but the discrepancy here is in the Atakan. The petals end up being evened up, interestingly. But as a result, JDG managed to mitigate that discrepancy. And of course, get the bonus of when they kill someone, they get the slows, and you are looking for burst here, and that's not a bad thing, actually, if you can get that first kill, which is a complicated thing to do anyway.
Yeah, I think if JDG get the first kill, they're probably very happy anyway. But yes, the Atakan means that they snowball even harder. So, 2 items for the Aurora, who's not done that much in terms of individual lane lead. I think Xiaoshu's done a very good job of keeping up with the Shy's for a typically lane-dominant Aurora. We saw how he's playing those trades. The fact that Xiaoshu has not lost anything is a big thing. However, who has lost a lot is Scout. Scout played well to get that solo kill onto Rookie earlier on in the side lane. He's been dropping a lot of farm, though, for the rest of his team, and even though he's 3-1-3, he's behind over 1,000 gold.
Nico hops away, doing his best, and as we said, got that farm now. for that Victor is very scary. Building towards something like a Death Cap or a Shadow Flame next. Maybe Azonia's actually had to sing an NLR and went through the various options it could be. Damage now coming on down as Rookie and Xiaoshu trading out. Big damage actually onto Rookie, needs to back away and does so. Ow.
Ult for ult, but that means no Chaos Storm for the Dragon, and that is kind of big. No Dominus either, but I think the Victor is more important to IG than the Renekton is to JDG. I think you take that trade. Well played there by Xiaoshu. 20 seconds till the Dragon. I wonder whether IG give this one up. You've already got one Dragon. You were kind of lucky to get that one, I suppose. Do you just give it up, wait to scale a little bit more, or do you feel like you've got an angle of approach?
I feel like we're seeing a lot more Shojin as well these days in general. Shojin Stride-Breaker, the build from Xiaoshu to really get value if he gets on top of someone. But here comes the Dragon, engage onto Wink.
No follow-up damage though, the Shy not hopping over the wall. Gets some damage. That Jin W definitely helps a little bit, but gets tanked up by the shield. Looks like IG do want to contest, but they're going through side of the... Oh, Scout's caught.
Oh boy, has to flash away. Still got the stun, but now caught in the Cataclysm. The Shy going to find some value as he goes across the wall there with the Between Worlds. Gets slowed down, but can still go across the Veil Shield looking for an angle. Make sure to go with forward to the Hound's Pursuit. Way stunned up by Paze. Flag and drag through. Beginning to do some damage. The Shy just gets shut down. Allows for another angle. Paze though in a 1v2 being run out. The gravity field comes on down. Can they get the deadly first? No, if they can't. Still trying to get the damage. The burn should surely do it. Does for Rookie. Flag and drag is immune by Shun. By that one, but Rookie continues to outplay. A wonderful shot from Gala. A flag and drag away from Way. They're just outplaying. The flash leads to nothing. Invictus Gaming just hands dip them.
This is the best form I've seen Rookie on in a long time. He has been outplaying the heck out of his opponents in his first couple of series here in the regular split. His Victor in particular has looked sublime, and right there, knowing that he could go forwards that extra step, using the breadth of his HP bar, get that extra E, kill off with the burn, and reset on that ult later as it came off on cooldown, was utterly insane from him. And JDG lose another grouped up fight. I would have thought they'd be winning these kind of planes at this point in their game. Scout gets caught early though, and a big part of their engage and their burst goes with it. Flash, after the flag and drag, confirms the knock up onto Scout, and the Shy shuts him down. Suddenly, much less backline threat. And Paze is not really in range to follow up on the fight. Gets caught in the Dragon Pit. Thought he'd follow up over the wall, but then just flashes into the Flying Dragon. Well, that's how Jarvan works with Aerosol. He can still move towards you. It's a self-displacement, technically not a movement ability, so we can get through that.
You can see the thought process. Look, I can get damage over the wall, but the burn is just there. And then Rookie gets to flash out from here, especially as Shun had just outplayed the flag and drag. But it's still Wave's got the flag and drag after because it's lured up cooldown at this point in the game.
The fact that he misses that final tick of damage onto way 2, insult to injury, Paze, no flash caught again.
In Between Worlds we go. You can get through the Cataclysm wall by pressing R as the Aurora. Good value there, and they pick up another one.
The game's falling apart now for JDG. They are behind 3,000 gold. They have not gotten their sold points, and they are failing to approach objectives even when they are there first. The fact that IG won that last play against vision control, against the control of JDG, is a huge loss. Wink now first person to get
flourish after, comes on down. Mako looking for some more with the quickness. Gravity field coming across as Rookie strides on forwards, strutting there with that staff and injury siphon power. Curtain call. Shun and Xiaoshu need to run away, trying to slice, but I don't think the dice will be offering much more than a natural one. A Stride Breaker in a dream right now, but I just don't think he finds out with the Toy Nectin. It's put in the toolbox. Not required anymore, split apart.
I love the way that IG are forcing these plays when JDG are not confidently following up on each other. JDG made changes coming into this split, and it feels like the chemistry isn't quite there yet. It is the first series for this new roster. We do expect great things out of these players and an organization like JDG. But Invictus Gaming, the more that we see from them in this split, this is their third series in just a handful of games, the more I'm feeling good about them. Arguably, they should have won versus Top Esports. A few misplays from Gala was the difference in that series. They demolished Team WE just after that too, and here against JDG, this is the best that they've looked so far. Game 1, utterly dominant, and here, Way on the Jarvan, being a very proactive player, not a role player anymore. He's actually making those big plays in a way that a new member on a team can sometimes struggle to do. And IG, this series, has looked very, very confident.
It's been really, really good. And look, Rookie on phenomenal form. I think Gala as well, outside of that one unfortunate face check, has actually team fought really well. Those fourth shot accuracies, the deadly flourish accuracies, have been such a menace.
They have been. You know, Gala had that one misplay against Paze a little earlier. But that's not been the story of the game. The story of the game has been him picking off people with his clutch W's after that point. You can kind of forget about that play now, fortunately for Gala. And honestly, he has been so good. 7-2-3. Personally, though, I think MVP for me has to be Rookie right now. Rookie has been so goddamn good. His clutch outplays have been so fun to watch. You know, I've definitely been someone who's criticized Rookie in recent years,
and rightly so.
And it has to be rightfully so. And Rookie had some big fall-off moments. He's looking confident. He's looking like he understands how to win those clutch team fights, and it's such a pleasure to watch.
In they go again, way onto Pays, who's still going to have to try and flash out. Does so, but they lose their jungler. Chains of Corruption flashed out his way. Does manage to survive. Xiaoxi looking for flank out. But David's looking to go on through. Way. Flag and Dragon runs away. Scout over the wall. Flash for that massive stun. Does get that with a disintegrate. Mako now flashing one out. Xiaoxi gets some good value. They may have gone too far as the Shy goes down. Does get one back onto the Annie Rookie with no flash quite up. Tries to trade back. The Arcade's doing a lot of work. Mako with the knockup. Can't quite get the damage, but he does at the end. The burn is there. Xiaoxi's still so deadly. This Renekton untouched. And Xiaoxi clutches up with a flash. And an engage on the side.
4 for 3 in favor of JDG as IG don't quite get the first pick they want without JDG answering a little too far, but still managing to make that into a 4 for 3 was very clutch in IG somehow anyway. They should have realistically lost that, more like a 4 for 2, 4 for 1. They managed to get more out of that than they would have thought, courtesy of their gold lead. Going on to the flashless Pays was a good play, of course, getting value onto it, but Wink ends up making sure the follow-up there is not onto the Jhin, and onto the Varus rather. That is classic LPL full context team fighting. If they engage on your carry, you stop their follow-up instead of just engaging on the person going in first. Rookie does get good value out of that Chaos Storm and ends up getting huge amounts of value with the Blood Letters afterwards. Ends up not quite killing Wink. Maybe should have put that E onto Pays instead and would have gotten a more clean kill there. But still, getting multiple kills back from IG in that position, I didn't expect that from them either.
For this Renekton again, he's got Sterex, he's got Shojin and Stridebreaker. If he can get some autos down, the damage from the Renekton it's pretty high. Now on to the Dragon we go. That would be soul point for IG and 3 Infernal Dragons on a quad carry team.
It's insane.
It is quite nasty.
Yeah, Jhin always has high AD numbers because of the way that his passive works with attack speed and blah 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 going into it. Getting a 4 Infernal Dragon Jhin into a team which has 0 tanks is disgusting. He has a Lord Dominance regard, so he'll get through the small amounts of armor which is there anyway, and not to mention the Victor who's gone for a higher AP build because they have the Blackfire in there. With Blackfire, if you end up hitting minus Baron Pepper. Jesus Christ.
As we were praising Invictus Gaming, they got off that, you know?
Look, the thing is, it was a bad play, but they got the most out of the bad play that they could have done. In fairness, actually, no, should have really criticized IG more. Sometimes it's easier to buy into the hype of the winning team, which you're doing clutch plays, but JDG did a good job there. Now they're going on to Rookie on the side lane. He has the Zhonya's, and he has the Blood Letters, and he has the flashback up. Rookie's been using the Zhonya's very, very well, allowing the Grav Field and the Chaos Storm to do their work while he's in gold form.
As well. The last player as well cost a few flashes, namely on Scout and Pays, and that has been a big deal. If Pays doesn't have flash, it's felt very hard for Varus to survive the incredible amount of damage coming his way.
Seeing a couple of comments as well in both chats as well, talking about basically who's the bigger criminal in this game, Scout or Pays, and sadly I think the answer is somewhere between the two of them, right? Pays not having that flash, consistently going too close to Fog of War has been a problem for them. Scout having little impact on the Annie outside of the early game too. They really need a clutch team fight to get any hope of a comeback. Flash last fight, but now Mako looking for a bit more on this tier 2. Won't quite find it. Way looking for an engage. Puts down the Damascene standard, will not Dragon Strike towards it. The Shy goes across the Velsham, looking for a little bit more. Oh my god, Gala
is now a 4-item Jhin, and that changes the pattern a little bit. Curtains are called. Goodbye, Wink. They're going to get the GA at least off one, but oh my days, the burn on the back end of it all. The Shy hit with the Chains of Corruption.
What is that Jhin damage?
4-item Jhin, baby.
That's a 4-item 3 Infernal Dragon Jhin. What? Huh?
Jhin scaling is very different to a lot of people's carries.
They can look for a crash down. No, they can't. Here comes the Cataclysm.
There we go. More damage to the backline as Scout goes on down. Way survives courtesy of a little bit of a Bastion shield. Shun gonna get flashed on. Gala looking for more. Pays in danger. Another one. He picks up as many as he can find. Finally brought low is the Aurora, but Gala picks up the triple.
Dare I say it, this is the best Invictus Gaming have looked the entire year. It's early into the split, but they look coordinated. They look on form mechanically across the board. Yes, there are jitters there, but let's be honest, it's not an Invictus Gaming game without some Invictus inting as well. The Happy Gaming comes with their organization. They'll get a last kill. And Gala really stepping up to the plate. Incredible Jhin performance.
You can't deal with them at the worst. You don't deserve to love them at their best. And this is looking close to the best we've seen them all damn year. Invictus Gaming 2-0 in superlative style.
JDG, their first series of the split is humbling. Humbling is the word. They've changed 2 members in top lane and in support, missing an Arla, leaving their roster, and IG, a team which has given them some road bumps before, gives them another one here. Masterclass from IG in terms of that clutch team fighting and mechanical play.
Hello one and all. I hope you enjoyed that series. I know I certainly did. Invictus Gaming are pretty damn good at League of Legends when they play. It's not perfect. They definitely overplay it a little bit when they don't need to. But hey, when it does work, watching these people flex their mechanical might is pretty damn cool. Welcome, welcome one and all to the stream. I am Initialise. This is my brother Nymaera. You may have seen us on such things as the LEC and the Masters, NLC, LPL in years past when there was in fact an official broadcast. There is no longer an official broadcast, which means we're reliant on all of you back home to come and give us some love. So a few things you can do to help come and support us. Number one, follow the channels. If you're not following the YouTube, if you're not following the Twitch, if you're not following the TikTok, which of course you please do, guys, it does make a huge, huge difference to our ability to keep doing this, right? The follow numbers, the subscription numbers make a massive difference to things like sponsors and all of that kind of thing. So please do consider just hitting that follow button at the very least. To those of you who've got a little bit of money or enjoy the show and want to support us a bit further, Twitch subs go a long, long way as well to keeping us in business. Again, we aren't paid to do this. We are here every day. It's just the 2 of us. It's a lot of bloody work, guys. So those of you who've got a Twitch Prime maybe, or just some money spare and want to throw it at us, this would be a great way to help us support the LPL and us in general. Outside of that as well, we've also got a Ko-fi link. For those of you who don't use Twitch, don't want to sub, want to support us a bit more directly, Ko-fi is also a wonderful way to do that. So please, please, please do also consider using that one. We'll put that link into the other chats. And follow me. I'm at Initialise Cast. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. That's 3 things. Basically, like, follow, and subscribe. You may have said that one in a few too many words, guys. But hey, got to do the spiel. And if you enjoyed that series, enjoy us, drop that love where you can.
Okay, that'll do us for the first series of the day. We'll be, of course, chilling out between the series. Feel free to stick around. And yeah, wait, you can type in green. How do you type in green, Sakura? That's crazy. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll have a second series of the day now. LNG versus TT, which is Group Nirvana. So this is probably going to be a bit of a slow mess, folks. Neither of those teams look particularly confident, but we do what we can. for TT just before the
LNG, is it?
Suzhou.
Suzhou, yeah.
NIP is Shenzhen. Yeah. So you have W in Xi'an, JDG in Beijing, LNG in Suzhou, and NIP within Shenzhen. So, yeah, four arenas. I am obligated to tell you folks that we might again have a 6 teleport game. There is an extra teleport on LP's Varus, and a potential extra teleport on the spellbook of Feather's Alistair as well. I'm not gonna lie, Sam. I like seeing creative use of summoners. I don't like seeing this flash aside, because I actually like the way that flash impacts the game. I really don't like the fact that teleport is just suddenly everywhere again, even after all the nerfs. It means that the actual combat, it feels like you lose that aggressive touch because everyone's just resetting all the time and teleporting randomly.
Back in, yeah. And again, I'm starting to see 8 teleport games where 80 carries running and spellbooks are coming through from supports particularly. It's everyone but junglers running TP. We're not miles off bloody TP Shaco jungle. Aki, we find an early wrap around here. Level 2 gank a possibility. Headbutt back it off. Feather, beautiful angle. LP needs to flash up. He's interrupted. It's wonderful from Thunder Talk.
Feather, take a bow. The level 1 Alistair headbutt. I have never seen that from that angle in my life. LP trying to stay away from the bush to make sure there was no random outplay to happen. He goes towards the fat wall though, and it means he can't flash over. Of course he can't. He would have just been flash followed by Aki anyway, especially with the red buff ticking. Awesome play. Very time efficient from Aki too. Doesn't lose that much time. He will need to be a little bit wary of now Xiaofeng having a play on the map.
Again, trying to hang towards his own jungler, but Xiaofeng is there. Flash away for that, but there's still the flag, the drag. And the Unraveled Earth comes on through to no avail. Pick up kill from LNG in the mid lane.
Yeah, Setup needed to be much more careful there. Your jungler has showed bot side. They know he's under level 2 and will have to spend time clearing his way through the map. There is no way that he can get to mid lane in time. Setup needed a better awareness of where Xiaofeng was on the map. I know it sucks because you feel like you're just going to get zoned out to the wave, but you're going to die there likely anyway.
And to be fair, like I get that he was hanging towards the bot side of his map because that's where his jungler was. The problem is Xiaofeng has already got round that side of the map. Aki will pick up the wolves. Speed of lane up. Ends up being a 1-for-1 in terms of the jungle ganks. The question is, where is it going to be more valid? Because Aurora, pretty scary. The problem is on the other side, the Sivir getting early kills and an early cull.
Getting a level 1 cull alongside Doran's Blade when you're a scaling carry, when it's 1xN playing the scaling carry as well, is a very, very bad sign for LNG. Now, they do have tools to get onto that hyper carry later into the game. We talked about that already, right? You're going to have Flash Nico, you're going to have Jarvan and Aurora, and then the Ambassador following up on that too. But you're going to have to really nail down that Sivir, otherwise it's going to be hellish in the team fights.
And Zaka forced away from the wave. They'll be like to reset. The trample came on through. Feather being very aggressive early on here. And early lane swap as well off that with the way the waves were coming. Let's get that Sivir towards second wave. Going to drop about 5 CS for it, depending on how this wave tracks out. But still good spot as Aki gets a wrap around towards this mid lane. How aggressive do they want to play this?
I think without red buff on the Shinzao and also the wave under turret, you don't really want to buy into a 50-50 with the chance of someone else randomly joining the play. 1xN, Feather, freezing the wave away from Zucker too. That's nasty. It's not like there are grubs up yet. You can wait for this to build up. You can get a slow crash later, and Zucker will be losing bits of farm. Alistair very good at denying waves. Can you just headbutt you away from it too? There's not much that Zucker can really do about this situation.
Hacho goes across the veil and throws out a weird ink for a bit of poke. Misses the 2-fold hex, but hey, it's in an alright spot. Drop continuing to roam around, letting the Varus 1v1 versus that Scion for now.
Look at this. No, Feather just denies them part that way. Does end up getting the cannon, though. It did aggro onto him, but the fact that he's being forced to overextend like this, he will be dropping bits and pieces of minions and putting himself at danger. If Feather can just headbutt him away from the wave a couple of times, he's going to start losing farm. On the other side, can't really stop the Scion doing that much.
It's very hard to stop Scion, especially with the comp you've got. You don't have displacement, you don't have that much interrupt until, say, I suppose level 6 from the Varus, but even that's just a root. It's not actually a stun or anything.
Mistake there from Feather, went a little bit too far from 1xN, meant that he couldn't interrupt the damage combo from Zucker, which actually does chunk out the Sivir significant amount. Means that Zucker is actually doing much better on the weak side than I would have thought he was doing. He has really been the star player for LNG in this very dark era for them. This is the LNG Dark Ages. They've had a very, very difficult year. They went from LPL finalists, they went from
semi-finalists.
Yeah, about how long ago would it have been? About 8-9 months ago. They were undefeated in World Swiss stage.
Yeah.
3-0, made it quickly up towards the best of 5 stage. Of course, bombed out in that first 1-2 against Weibo, who then destroyed them in the quarterfinals and made it through to their own semis at the hands of Tarzan, their old jungler, of course, too. But now at LNG, this is the bottom of the barrel. This is the bottom of the barrel. They have made their bed with multiple roster changes and able to hang on to players like Scout. There's tons of drama with him and his departure from EDG legal proceedings ended up happening. He's now paid off all of those fines, of course, as announced by himself and by JDG, the organization, too. I saw him play earlier. But LNG have come off very poorly away from the last 2 off seasons or so.
It's been difficult. It's been very difficult. Sure here, though, in the form of a minion. Does get the root onto the Alistair, into the arrow after, so Feather eats a bit of a chunk there, but not too much more.
Question in chat, who has the better draft? Well, you know, it's always a hard, difficult conversation to have, right? I think LNG have lots of ways to get onto the backline carries. TT have lots of ways to disengage for them. You have the Alistair popping ult. You have the Sion charging Q. One of the best things you can do with the Sion, actually, against multiple melees is literally just cast your Q at your own carry. You won't do damage to them, but if anyone goes melee, Q hits them.
Yeah.
So you've got ways to disengage from that. I think personally, having the Sivir with that first kill and getting that kill stacked up, I personally think TT are in a better position with the draft.
And you will probably come online that little bit earlier, though, because they've gone for the Aurora and Varus as their character. Eco, even, I suppose, as that kind of support playmaker, whereas the Sivir does, generally speaking, need at least 2 items to be doing something and about 3 to be genuinely scary. Of course, the early kill will help accelerate that, but it is still going to be another 15 minutes or so before 1xN is truly the big dog on the rift. And speaking of potentially dangerous moments, Xiaofeng is around this top side here on the Jarvan.
Not really going to be doing much in terms of this TV2. It's mainly just here for the grubs. 10 seconds until it comes up. 1xN will get rid of that wave. We'll have no level 6 for this one, whereas LP does. LP's had a bit more solo farm time, whereas it's been shared between Feather and 1xN. Means that Alistair ult will be up. How close are they to that level 6? If both bot laners get level 6 before Nico does, I think they can fight. That's why they're really shoving for this wave. If they can get that, they get level 6, and maybe they can get a good fight afterwards. Grubs being delayed by Aki. Yeah, level 6 hit by the bot lane. Sivir immediately uses it, I think, to go down to... No, okay, I was just wondering if the icon appeared and then disappeared. That's what really confused me. What the heck? It's like, wow, it disappeared. He must have used it. Can they fight now with the Alistair 6?
Maybe. There comes the smite. Ends up being a 1-1 of the Grubs trades right now. Aki looking to get on top of this one. Doesn't have his smite available. Xiaofeng will look at the other side of 1xN, trading up with LP. And sure, looking to turn around. The Eagles comes on in. Flash away there from Xiaofeng to quit at 1xN inside the Cataclysm, who fails to get out of the wall. It's not hit by between worlds, though. The weirding across the wall by some time. 1xN with the spell shield, getting himself a bit of healing, but just can't get far enough. The flash for the auto nearly didn't get him. Finally, they're going to continue running. It took so long to kill the damn Sivir. They're now in a weird spot. Seismic Shove comes on forward. Threaded volley onto LP, who's been aggroed by the blue buff. Aki comes on through with the audacious charge. Now Xiaofeng needs to consider getting away. There is the hop away. What can he do in the wolf camp pit? Flag and drag onto the other side. Won't see him on the wolves. Can they spot him over here? Seismic Shove just wide, but it's spotted regardless.
The Seismic Shove stops the recall even if the E doesn't hit. So the fight ends up being, I believe, a 3-for-2 overall as LNG got the 1 kill earlier on to the Tilly. Yep, I am counting right. Fights early in the game, sure it's hard to count the death timers. And TT will get 2 grubs out of it. Yes, they end up losing their Sivir through it, but LNG can't really get themselves the fight which they want, even with arguably the better early, well, definitely the better early game damage. Exhaust went onto the Jarvan, which meant that the Cataclysm didn't work out that well. Flash away from the Nico spells means that even though 1xN doesn't have that much mana, he's still buying time. Spell shields and arrows, use the barrier. Even in such a bad spot, he buys like an extra 4 or 5 auto attacks from the combined team of LNG, and that allows the Shins out and the Talia to get round to a second round of cooldowns, allows them to pick up the fight.
And that's after 1xN as well ended up in this really weird position where he flashed, failed to get out of the Cataclysm, and then got caught between the Cataclysm wall and the terrain.
Oh, you're right. It absolutely did just miss there, but he stopped the recall anyway. I don't think it would have mattered. It gave vision all the same.
That's what it did. The vision was so important, and manages to get quite a lot there.
The way that the spectator worked there, I didn't think that Talia W gave vision. I'm still pretty sure it doesn't actually.
I think
it might have been a minion which came through.
What you get is you get a little AoE around where your spell goes. If you see what I mean.
I'm not gonna lie. In all my years of playing Talia,
I've not played that much Talia, so I might be wrong.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it might have actually just been a minion coming through or whatever.
That would have been impressive.
Look, okay, I'm sure there's a really reasonable explanation which I'm just missing because I can't.
It could just be that it does.
Like, wow, Aki came around the corner or whatever. Dragon's now available. Might get another fight around this. No first items in for most of the team, but the junglers both have them, interestingly. Sundered Sky is a hell of a first item spike.
Both junglers got 2 kills from that last fight, so they're feeling pretty happy right now. And again, this is the Shin's out at his highest point of power. Hoya coming on down, can look to ult on in. It's the Lumberjack looking to fell some trees. Feather rooted by the Tangle Barbs. TP walk behind in that red, but that Raptor pick. Keep your eyes on it. Hai Chao is around. If you get interesting, as TT are being corralled, Feather will cleanse that ult with his own. In comes Hoya looking for an angle, but the public execution, the Pop Blossom, headbutted away, buying some time. Varus is dead, but so is Sivir. What's happening is everyone's being knocked up and around. Zucker looking for some engages now as he begins to Drakehound step across the backline. Hoya flashing away from the flag and the drag. Jor can look for Tangle Barbs, potentially onto that sign just about wide. It's a 1 fight for LNG, but TT did get the dragon.
Yeah, really good teleport angle from Zucker. 1xN just couldn't play. And while I do think TT do have some disengaged tools, they weren't in position there because they weren't expecting such an angle from the top player of LNG. And Bessa gets onto the Sivir and makes their life hell. Hard to play as the Sivir here. You don't want to be stuck against the wall, especially without your flash to get over it. See that 1xN is umming and ahhing. Does he want to buy into the fight? They do eventually buy into it, and sadly he's hit by pretty much everything. The Aurora ult tags him, Jarvan gets him, the Ambessa comes over the top. 1xN, not the best team fight from him. He'll need to do better later, as Jarvan got a 3-man Q through there, getting huge damage in the clump.
But without flash and caught between 3 different people, I'm not sure there was a direction to run there, so at some point...
Well, okay. What I will say is, you don't step forwards into the Aurora ult damage when you see it's happening. Because so the weird thing about Aurora, it takes a little while for the ult to kind of expand and to get the damage towards the outer ring. Sometimes you see the ring appearing like, oh, okay, I can step into it. He stepped into it too early and took the damage, which is the big issue.
Ends up taking a little bit too much then. Hai Chao in a fantastic spot. 3-1-3 on this Aurora. 6 stacks in the Dark Seal. Yeah, that Aurora will be a problem.
1xN, one more wave until he gets himself cull stacked in, cashed in. Still ahead in gold, the 1 gold lead for TT, courtesy of that first kill, and of course the cull, and the fact that he's got a slight CS lead for now. That's the cull locked in. He'll want to recall. Can he get himself to an important item breakpoint? Gotta say though, with Jarvan with this amount of gold, I'm quite worried for 1xN and his ability to carry the game. Earlier I was saying TT, early advantage on the Sivir. I'm sure they'll be played, in a good spot for the rest of the game, even though it's a difficult draft to play as an immobile carry. Now I'm not so sure. Because this Jarvan is fed, Xiaofeng was one of our junglers, which is now in his 2nd year, I believe, now in the LPL, making a big impact in this game.
What we can do with this lead, and again, it could get a little bit interesting. Say the least cull is now cashed in. Fairly good job trying to get some value out of that. Aki around here, looking to the potential way towards something. Can't quite do it. See what happens over the next few moments. Got about a minute or so until Herald. See how much of an item 1xN picks up, whether he can be boots or goes towards a part complete on item number 2.
I don't know if TT can fight without Sivir Flash. If Sivir loses Flash, I think the fight's pretty unplayable.
It has to be a really good headbutt away from Fed then. Even then, I just don't know how easy it is, because the last time we saw it, Xiaofeng flashed over it.
And while I agree for something like the flag drag or something like that, you cannot stop the Cataclysm. You're unstoppable during the cast time of that, and as long as the walls are around Sivir, I think the fight is over. Now, with that in mind, Jarvan very powerful, can be a little bit more brazen looking for that Cataclysm. LNG should feel confident about the next couple of fights. If they can force the Sivir Flash, TT can't really contest anything. I don't think so. TT will try their best to protect their carry. They need to get good vision down, stop those unexpected angles from the Ambessa, the Aurora, Jarvan, everyone dunking down on the Sivir. 1xN has a hell of a lot of work to do to stay alive.
See what he can do, and again, he's got some tools around to help that happen, but I think at this point of the game, when you've got pretty much everyone can gun for his head in some capacity, all of the ultimates here are miserable for Sivir.
Herald started up. This is better terrain for TT. There's also no vision on top side for LNG. They do have pet escapes if they want to go for some of those tricky engages. And the flanking angles. Sion walking up the river. Zach has teleport coming up in a few seconds, I believe. Can't do it right now. Sion going around the back of the play.
That could get very interesting. We'll find an angle onto somehow. Joy's got bounced around. That was surely a spectator, but now LP's in danger. Might be losing his namesake as Feather ghosting, looking to get the trample proc, and they'll get the kill on the Varus.
Folks, I don't know if we're going to get a pause about that. That Sion, I think he ended up bugging his ultimate. The angle there was a little bit different to what I expected. We'll watch the replay. I don't know if that's one of those tricky Cyanol bugs because it catches LNG completely out of surprise. You get a huge fight, and they use the Herald to immediately take the tower.
I just don't know what exactly that was. It might have been a spectator bug. Talia does get out, actually, and now Sharfan might be in a spot of bother. Will Cataclysm forward, Jaw throws down the Tangle Bobs. Hijack with a Between Worlds, looking for a bit more. TP coming on through, set up without the flash, can now be in danger. Flashed on top of, has got a Sarah shot, misses the seismic shove and will be traded.
Will be traded back. So TT come away with a one play. Dragon is spawning now, and LNG are back out onto the map. They'll end up not taking the Dragon, will TT. They'll leave that over towards LNG and instead put Sion topside with nothing really to... Well, they could teleport Ambassador up, I suppose, to try and save plates on topside.
We will do that. Again, they have got a couple grubs, and Sion should be able to get a fair chunk here with a Demolish.
I really need to see a replay of that fight. It might have been a spectator bug, but I just don't think Cyanol, at that part in his ultimate, can angle it that way. It's a huge amount of damage. If you get hit by Cyanol after it's been charged up for a while, especially at the level 11 Mark 2, rank 2 of it, you are losing like a good third of your HP, quarter to a third of your HP as a carry. It was one of the reasons why Cyan was so OP in season, 5, 6, 7 odd towards like the start of his rework career, because his damage was utterly insane if you could land everything. See the replay again. What happened here? It is! That's a bug! It's a bug! They should pause that! That is not correct! I was right in calling that out.
Yeah.
Hoya just bugged the Cyanol. That is a game-changing bug. I hate to say it, folks, this should be a Chrono Break game.
Is that... Is that a known interaction? Because there is a list where it's allowed.
No, that is not an intended interaction for Cyan Ultimate. There are some ways that you can end up losing it. That should be a Chrono Break. That is a game-winning bug for TT. They don't realize it at the time. League officials should be pausing the game. LNG just got done in by a Cyan bug.
Reminder, I don't think League officials are allowed to pause it. It has to be the players.
League officials can do as well. They can announce it for a few things. Next fight going on, though.
Keep on headbutting forwards, big chunk on forwards, overcomes Senna, but it's into the Pot Blossom, still going to kill off the job, into the side, into the Cataclysm they go. Aki gets some damage back and they will bring down the Nico as well. The piercing arrow gets 2. Haichao now in danger, 1xn continues to throw out auto after auto after auto. Ricochet's coming on through, gets the additional auto down onto that flower, keeping things rolling, trying to ricochet through the wave, get some more onto Haichao. Setup looking for a bit more. It's messy. 2 for 2, all things said and done. Jungle and support both dead.
TT using their top lane to push out top lane as well. Zucker not getting the best of that trade, actually. Hoya doing well with his Sunfire Cape and his Tabi against that. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just flabbergasted that that bug has happened and not been paused for. I mean, if I can tell that live on casting it, the players should be able to tell that in game as well. That is not an expected ult angle. This is what happened as we were coming out of this play. Aki got some great damage down, but the double arrows, he said later, really the game changer. Flag drag missed out a lot of that burst. And while there is a huge Nico Aurora, the Shinzo ult gets arguably a lot more value. What happens here? It's just the lineup gets both there. Should never line up like that to give Varus a double shot. Ends up getting both.
Hugely valuable there. Now Aki going to pick up a Scuttle Crab. The gold is still very even here, but the second item is now on in for this Sivir. But of course, because LP picked up a couple kills, the gold lead that Sivir has kind of disappeared. But again, Varus, you would hope, would be a little bit further ahead of the curve at this point in the game. Hasn't happened so far. Turret's picked up by TT. Second dragon for LNG. Feats of strength, not claimed, I think, by either team. Oh no, sorry, it has been picked up by TT, who I think got first turret and enough of the early objectives as well to secure those, and that's an extra little bit of boon their way. 2 minutes till next dragon.
TT still have their summoners on Sivir. We said that was a big point for them. 1xn struggling to get damage down so far, actually, on the whole. That was the point. The spectator was baiting us there. You know, sometimes the camera moves a certain way and you think, okay, well, that's happened X, Y, Z ways. About to get set up towards the Rylai's 2. That's going to be important because there'll be a lot of extra HP and the Seraph shield for him. What's up next? Atacon obviously big on the table. Did you mention the Atacon coming up?
I did not know.
Cool. Right. Well, good. I didn't have to reinstate your point then. Cool. 1xn. In fact, going towards lifesteal next item, wanting to survive the dive, thinking, look, I don't actually need Lord Omic's Regards or Infinity Edge. What I need to do is survive. Bloodthirst potentially up there. Or it might just be, hang on. No, it might just be a stop off for the Vamp Scepter.
We'll see exactly what he decides to go for, but I see the value here nonetheless. There's enough poke here for that to be valuable.
Sucker's on a great angle. If he walks over that ward, will he be spotted? I'm not sure about that.
Engage now onto Feather, who breaks the will, makes the will unbreakable. Chains of Corruption flashed away from. Should be able to get out here as the Between World comes on down. Won't go too much further.
Haichao using the ult there. It's a bit strange.
It's a minute until Dragon, so maybe it does have a bit of time before it comes back up, so it could be a bit more liberal with it.
Yeah, it doesn't have any cooldown reduction in his build, though, so that might end up being... Well, Probably will be up if it's a slower fight. I can't imagine at rank 2 it's a 60-second cooldown. I seem to remember that was a little longer.
Third off already, so
This is how this play happened on bot side. I mean, it's just a flag drag hitting as Alistair forced to blow that ult. Of course, that will be halfway off cooldown right now. Only the first rank of it, so that one...
bit more lengthy.
Yeah, well, he does have the cooldown boost, actually, so he's doing alright on that front. TT, waiting, biding their time.
Shoving up mid lane again. Thundertalk with that Herald play, despite, I think, setup over eager in getting back in the Herald. Still did get that mid tier 1. So it's giving them a lot of shove because Civic can clear waves like nobody's business. And yes, Varus very good at controlling mid lane wave, yada, yada, yada. But you don't have a turret behind you, so the wave's still going to be forced back. And it's making LNG's pick options a lot more narrow when they are constantly having to sort of like walk around the extra vision that's just given by not having mid tier 1.
Can LNG get onto the carries? They're 2 items now. They're not like game-ending potential, but they're definitely much scarier than they were. Hai Chao, the ultimate's coming up in a handful of seconds. Alistair ult is up now. Arrow hitting. That poke is obviously very nasty. No more amount of transformation just yet from LP. Triple teleport for LNG if they want to get Trixie. Hex gates if they want to get even more so. Do TT start the dragon? They should do.
Hai Chao on a flank angle.
Has
Does
the ult
have the
back.
ult back up. That will be valuable. Also, Zucker on a flank can look to collapse. I don't know whether TT have enough vision here to stop all of the various people collapsing on in. Dragon down to 2,000 HP should be secure. No! Flag Dragon steal by Xiaofang. Coming for the pop blossom. Doesn't actually get as much value as they were hoping for. Need to go across the wall to get out to safety. As actually LNG ended up really split apart here. The Weaver's Wall angle. Potentially dangerous from Setup, who looks to get more value to Xiaofang here. Has to sidestep that seismic shot, but is hit by the wind. Becomes lightning as a result. Jungler down alongside the sport. I think that's Atacam for TT and trade for the Dragon.
Is soul point for LNG. Good steal through from Xiaofang. The flag drag combo always been a good amount of damage onto objectives in your steal attempts. Manages to get that, but yes, you're right. It will be the Atakan going down. And TT already had the hang on a second. W arrow from Varus. Can he steal it? No, he can't.
Ooh.
Won't die for the attempt either. Was a little bit worried about that. Atakan will go down. TT will get big value out of this. It will give them more value from all the petals they already have.
24, see exactly what it goes up to at the back end of this. Up to, oh my days, 34-7. That is a lot of extra stats.
Yeah.
It's something like 1,000 gold per 10-ish. Something like that, if I remember my maths correctly. And so they are up a couple grand, basically, in stats that are not on screen.
Go back to a replay of this where Q over the wall. It's a really good sound Q outside of vision from the plant. Also stops off to hit one of those plants as well. I appreciate that. Hoya doing a good job of, really good job of frontlining here. Yes, the steal comes through, but while that is happening, Sion has forced Varus and the Nico to step backwards. That means they can't really get into the play in the way that they want to. Honestly, this team fight is won by that Sion ultimate. The Weaver's Wall comes out after 2, but great job from Hoya. Look, Hoya's had some duff games, but sometimes his frontline play can be absolutely fantastic, and right there, good ultimate there to force him back. Civ has died while we were in replay, okay? Would have liked to see that one, folks.
Yeah, looks like there was a Cataclysm burn, so I'm assuming it's just Flashless Sivir getting jumped on by all the tools that will punish a Flashless Sivir.
Yeah, Cataclysm, anything else used? No, that's the big ultimate. Baron coming up in a minute, and it's a dangerous world to live in as a Sivir without Flash. We've been talking about the whole damn game, and LNG. Credit to them, last series they looked dead, leaderless, no proactivity. It was very, very slow, and it was very difficult to watch. Walking over vision, 1xN, there's no one near. Okay, 1xN, honestly, that's on him. You should never be walking that far away from your teammates. The fact that no one is even on his screen is already problem enough.
Assume that's just off the resets from Dragons, so people went back out on the map yet. They wanted to get that wave before it crashed and gets punished again. 1xN, we've loved his team fight, we loved his mechanics, but there have been a few times when he is caught between plays on rotations where he really shouldn't be. A little bit disrespectful there and deservedly punished.
Baron spawning LNG. They'll be looking for a big knight fight now to then go into that. 3 items for the Varus. The usurper's going a little cheaper, so it means you hit it a little earlier. Hai Chao hitting the 2 item spike. That's the nasty one. The Riftmaker Leandries, that's a recipe for destruction. LNG still a little bit behind in gold, but they have Soul Point hanging over TT. They have Baron. I don't think they're unhappy with the game.
And here we go. I hear that noise coming back on in. We are back to live. Clean feed restored. Go back into game. Not too much lost there. Everyone's still up and alive. Baron's still rolling for at least another minute and a half. And TT looking to get some value from shoving on in. Aki at this point as well with 3 items. And that additional Caulfield's Warhammer at level 16 is an additional threat, honestly, at this point. Might be what they need to help deal if the Sivir goes down. Was certainly very important at the last end of... the end of that last play around the Baron. Not had the easiest journey of late as Aki, and at the moment I start speaking well about him, he ends up eating a lot of poke and throws at the sad BMO, and I don't blame him. Setup, being threatened, and again, TT, got the Baron. Dragons in 20 seconds. Again, this would be sold for LNG. Not really got all that much with the Baron, has he? A couple thousand gold, and that's it.
So, TT trying to slam home the advantage with the remainder of that Baron buff. Here comes the Weaver's Wall. They're forcing the play, actually. That's one way to get some of the threat off of you.
In comes the ult. Hoyer's found an angle behind. Charging on forwards. The unstoppable force is very deadly indeed. They kill off the Varus on the other side. 1xN healing up a fair amount. Will finally go down, but tries to take Xiaofeng with it. Can't quite do it. 1-for-1 in the AD carries.
Oh, but LNG managed to get out, and Xiaofeng is still alive. If you can find anything to hit, he's looking to see if Krugs are there. No, they're not there, so he'll have to stick around on low HP. TT leaving their AD carry out to dry. The peel has not been good for 1xN, but they have got themselves an angle towards the Dragon. It is a steal or bust.
Feather trying to body block over the wall, trying to find the smite angle and can't quite do it on the drive-by. Dragon secured by TT, and the 1-for-1 will go out as a wash.
LNG do not get the soul. TT have that soul now. 1xN will respawn. Again, I'm not that happy with how TT have been playing around their own Sivir. I think their logic has been, if we engage first, we can do the damage before they find the angle onto the backline. That's not really been true. See, that Hoyer missed the ult onto LP, made the front end of that fight a little bit slower than they wanted, and 1xN was a little slow to catch up, even with the ult running, so LNG could just go and dunk down onto him. Luckily, they have had enough damage. I think Aki on the Shinzao has been doing a serious amount of work. I did say earlier, I don't think anyone else has the damage to clean up team fights. Technically still true, but they're trying their goddamn best, and Aki has been, with an 8-kill Shinzao, who's putting in some work.
He really is. And again, part of it as well is because LNG have permanently been looking with flanked with at least 2 people. It will be Haichao plus Xiaofeng or Haichao plus Zucker coming in from 3 different angles. And so TT, I think, are trying to take the approach of, well, we just engage on one of the flankers and try and break them apart. It has often been the way you deal with that, but if you're doing that in a way that's still leaving 1xN vulnerable, the flank is at least getting some value.
Sivir Flash is back up. That is...
Hooray.
That is bad news for LNG. Bad news indeed. Sure, that was hidden as a minion. Did you count the minions? Obviously, still getting caught by that,
Blooming Burst.
Blooming Burst, not Blooming Blows.
That's
that one's the Lilia one.
Yep. They're both Qs as well, just to be really annoying.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's the Pop Blossom. No, that's the ultimate. Zucker was off the vision, but he was mind giving out a flick back, actually. Nasty damage. Pushing in towards this tower.
And again, this clear build, not the most damage heavy, right? It's gone towards pure utility, got an orb in inventory as well to try and help cut some of that healing. Knows what the role is this game, but it does mean that actually some of these flickbacks aren't as scary individually as they might be in another game for a Talia. Quiet in that mid lane. Does a whack on the wave with the decimating smash, but won't lead to all that much. Poor old LP here as well, 5 and 6. Found a couple cool kills to get that double kill earlier, but again, AD carries in general have had a big old target painted on their heads, and it's not been that easy to survive individually, and the peel hasn't been super consistent from either team.
Interestingly enough, by the way, folks, so something that you were saying earlier in terms of the Scion ultimate, apparently it's just the way that Scion ult interacts with corners, and there's a hidden bump on that wall, which affects the geometry. So while I think that Scion ult should be paused for, it was a full, if you look back at the clip, full 45-degree angle change, very unexpected, leaves the insta-kill of the Nico.
But it is a known interaction.
It is a known interaction. And that might mean it's not
a bug
able to be paused for. Now, personally, I think you should pause anyway and at least get that checked out, because that is unfair. If that is allowed in the game, I do not think that is a fair interaction. 1xN, hanging over to his safe side of the lane. Haichao again, just got his eyes onto him. It's all about diving onto that Sivir. Haichao has a flank. Can he get here in time, though?
1xn coming on over. Indeed, Haichao's coming over. He might be a little bit too late. Joy's in danger. Has put a stopwatch down, trying to find an angle. He's going to get into the fortunate range of setup. Picked up by 1xn. GA procced onto Aki, but that's not the value target of, say, 1xn. Public execution. Aki in danger, being run at by the two solo laners. They've got the GA on the other side of the decimated Flash will come on down and make that a significantly less even trade. Setup trades out there 1-for-1 with LP. Ends up being a 3-for-2.
3-for-2, but the Sivir is alive with Flash, and your engage onto them is gone. Sivir actually has a free play.
boy.
Here comes the Scion again.
Choo-choo, Onslaught comes on forwards. Roar of the Slayer on the Raptor means Haichao's in danger, spotted out by the far side alteration. Where do you go? The cooldown at this point, not that long, and things like between or across the veil. Forced to Flash. Going to be in danger. Flash from Feather as he tries to get the pulverize angle and doesn't. There's going to be a Blasco. Mornixen is waiting. Here we go. Boomerang Blade comes across. Where's he across the veil? Surely going to come up at some point, but it does not. And Mornixen brings down the bunny. Not the cleanest chase of all time.
Haichao will be dead for a full minute. He will be up for the dragon, but it's going to be a Baron started by TT. They'll have regen, respawn coming through. 1xn will have the damage to kill the Baron, but Zucker's coming over to try and stop him. Ult in 5 seconds.
Behind. Needs to be wary here. As Zucker can look for this Jaw also coming on up. They don't know he's there quite yet. Redemption's coming on forward. The headbutt away. Buy some time. Hoya now here, looking to body block. On the hunt comes on forward. Flash away. You're still going to get that pop blossom. Try to stay alive as 1xn. Will stay alive for a little while longer. Still healing. Still alive. Murders 2.
2 down, Haichao still dead, and they can go back to the Baron. 1xn will use that Vamp Scepter and his 4.5 item Sivir to finally get the game-winning play. Every flash on Sivir has to count, and that one certainly did. LP, it's an arrow or nothing.
There's a smite still in Feather's inventory of all people. Chains of Corruption will bring Setup off the wall. Won't quite die, though, and credit there to Feather as well. Really good fight, the bot lane duo. Managing to use every tool in the arsenal to keep that Sivir alive as everyone was jumping for the heads. Turning back towards the dragon. Xiaofang is up, but you are down Zucker, you are down Jaw for at least a couple more seconds. Hex Gates will help, but I think it's just going to be Soul, Hextech Soul as well to Thunder Talk Gaming.
Yeah, just another confirmation, folks. Apparently, the Scion ult completely interacted. It's just dumb as hell, and I shouldn't be in the game. Just the way that it is. I know that I keep going back to it, but that genuinely did change the game. It was the first real winning angle for TT. Now they get themselves Hex Soul. They have Baron, LNG. More proactive game for them this time. I think this is a better showing than their last series. However, it's not a hard thing to do. They really struggled in their first game out. TT, credit to Aki, new player to the roster, player who's always had streaks and ups and downs. This is the heads of the Aki coin flip. Haichao on another flank, level 17, has himself 4 items, including a death cap and a shadow flame. He needs to assassinate someone, not on vision just yet. He is going on a wild old chase, though, to see if he can get something done.
Look for it wherever he can. Haichao, he is down that lane, not spotted as yet. Thunder Talk, remember, 1xn's got a GA now. Already sold to get that. Haichao being collapsed onto. On the hunt is going down. Between worlds is there, and 1xn just stands and delivers. He murders them all. Now the turnaround comes on through. Tries to pop blossom to buy some time to draw, but it will not do so. As LP going to get hit by the redemption. And unfortunately for him, that means he burns. Zucker being traded out by Setup will get nowhere as the Ryalize slows, making his life utterly miserable.
The Hextech Lightning brings the Chillin back down to earth. A Lightning Rod. As they cannot finish off the Sivir, they lose game 1.
Hextech Soul for Thunder Talk, very apt indeed. They find what they came for, and the game got a little bit too late in the Sivir. Became a little too hard to kill. It was scrappy, wasn't easy. Involved some weird old Scion interactions, but it's still a Thunder Talk game.
I'll keep going back to it. Flabbergasted that is a Scion interaction.
I did wonder whether it was an interaction, I really did.
No, I mean, the thing is, technically, yes, because of geometry and whatever. I personally think it is a...
It's a weird old thing.
What it is effectively... Scion ults is not meant to pop when you're at a certain angle with a wall, because it's meant to kind of drift around to stop it being like really annoying when you're kind of just next to a wall and it kind of stops. It's meant to be like that.
Give it a bit more forgiveness.
Because of the hidden bump in that wall, because of the geometry, it will technically slide around the corner because the angle is not quite good enough. I don't think it should be able to deflect the Scion ult to that degree, though. That was ridiculous. I just cannot stress it more, folks. I think it's unfair. If it's not a bug, I think it's unfair and should be removed from the game.
I guess that would involve a resculpt of the map, probably, is what it would need to be.
That or some changes to the way that Scion ult works with corners, because that, genuinely, folks, that Scion ult changes the game. Because what ended up happening was Scion ended up ulting, pinging directly into the Nico, who had flash, who had ult, could have saved that team fight with a defensive flash ult. ends up dying completely, CC'd out because it goes straight into the Talia wall and everything's a full damage Sion ultimate, and it changes the game.
And you could support this level of really interesting insight and opinion by subscribing on Twitch with Prime or with a regular sub. Or if you're feeling really generous, you can try gifting a few, because we love our gifters here in this community. Thank you to all the Oilers in chat. Please do that if you're on the Twitch channel. If you are not on Twitch or don't want to subscribe, there is another way to support us, and that's Ko-fi. We can have the Ko-fi link from someone in chat. I would appreciate it. And we can share that one around as well. That's a really good way to support if you're in other channels looking to support us as well. Please do also follow our various socials. If you're not following the Twitch, the YouTube, the Twitters, all those things, please make sure to go and do that. Helps us get things like sponsors, which would be wonderful to allowing us to keep doing this for all of you back home. Much love. Please do, in fact, give us some too.
Watch the highlights of the game now as, I mean, credit to 1xN, ends up getting a huge amount of damage despite he was public enemy number 1. Yeah. LNG tried very, very hard to shut down 1xN on Sivir. This is about as hard as it gets to play Sivir when you don't have the best peel from your team, actually, because the Sion and the Alistar, while they're normally good at standing their ground, can't really stop Aurora and Ambassador getting onto your case. And somehow still came up with a huge damaging game. Real credit towards Aki. I think that Xin Zhao was instrumental.
No fight from LNG, but we just hit this point where what TT managed to get out of the fights they won, which is so much more than LNG. They got to Soul Point, but then never looked at a dragon again. A few more of those replays. Aki also really good Xin Zhao game, actually, to be fair. In fact, I wonder whether Aki might be the one who gets the MVP this game, though I think also Feather on the Alistar, probably my other potential option here. Got caught out that one time slightly awkwardly, but otherwise was very, very clutch in a lot of these fights. And that early headbutt at the level 1 was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I think for me it's Aki. I think Aki was really, really good. I think his level... Oh, there was the headbutt level 1.
Level 1, that's what I'm saying,
the level 2 gang from Aki, though, similarly very good angle. And CT... I think this is a hard draft to play. I mean, look at this again, folks. Look how it... You tell me that's fair. You look at that and you tell me that's fair. Now, the thing is, the reason I thought it was a bug initially is because there have been Sion ult bugs in the past where you could basically do 90-degree shifts on the ultimate. They sometimes required some exploits for that, so it wouldn't be the same kind of thing. But I knew that there were bugs with Sion ult in the past. If that's genuinely intended, that is so stupid. It is so dumb. I cannot believe that that is intended in the game. I think it's an unintended consequence of not wanting the Sion ult to feel clunky and very unsatisfying when it's going around walls and using it to drift and stuff, but that's just not okay. Okay, well, we'll wait until the MVP. I'm gonna go to the toilet, actually. Really
Go for it. There's a difference in drifting or being a bump car. Yeah, there is a bit of that. Couple good games from Aki in a row, especially because right at the start of the split, again, he was looking really poor. He's had a really poor couple years, unfortunately for him. But so far, so good. Was a good Xin Zhao look in. What he can do. The game goes on.
Okay. You can, early on, you can end up kind of getting some really good damage in his kind of active range before he kind of gets wave control over you. So we've seen actually a lot of Ornn's 369, for instance, the other day, was destroying Rumble in the early levels. Only really gets to the point where, say, 2-3 items in when you've maxed out the Electro Harpoon and get stuff like the Gantry's potential Rift Maker, where actually the Rumble really starts to take over.
Okay, I can see it, because obviously I'm seeing a lot of Comet poking, and I saw the Electro Harpoons, and I guess I'd seen some Rumbles just kind of just hit the Harpoons, and the Ornn just kind of sit there and have a bad time.
I think it's more on the
Ornn player, really. If the Ornn is good, they should win the matchup. You can see right now, I mean, Ornn is up in CS a little bit compared to the Rumble. Will have to take that first recall, of course, can use his passive to buy that null magic mantle while he was already in lane, which definitely helps too. That's another big thing too. You can actually end up buying something buy like your first MR bit after the first few waves, then back, and then come in for your teleport and be very safe with your itemization. He'll end up picking up the next minion on 3. He's actually going to hold it at tower to freeze it for 1xn and feather. That's nice. Get you a top laner like Hoya. Clipping the wave just a little bit, but on the whole, holding the wave up for the Xayah and the Rakan. They're going to pick up that wave, get a little bit more in. Slightly ahead in terms of farm compared to the Lucian and the Braum lane. Hoya will recall, get a teleport to the bot side of the map if he needs to. Equalizer used to actually push out that wave and make sure the wave is not frozen in favor of 1xn and feather, or slow pushing him rather.
And you do sometimes see these early Rumble ultimates just for that. It's partly why Rumble is alright in some of those lane swap scenarios, and we do still sort of get them in this regard where that kind of 4 or 5 minutes people do switch for lane priority, picking up waves. Tibbers just drops in mid lane there by setup to try and force a bit of priority and allow TT to potentially fight over this dragon. Setup with the stun charge, in danger though, gets jumped at, gets a stun back, and manages to walk away. Haichao looking for the shuffle back, it's onto Tibbers and setup, and needs to start running away. What's happening in the river? Hoya's now come on down, has TP'd in, gets a knock up onto the Brawl, looking for some value. Call of the Forge God coming on down, and setup got the stun charge, goes down to the soldiers. Big knock up though on the other side as LP goes down to 1-for-1 as it stands, and the dragon stays standing.
Well played there by Hoya to make sure the shield was down before he cast the Call of the Forge God. Ends up putting TT somehow at a slight advantage. I would have thought that LNG would come out ahead there, but it's not quite the case. Triple stun, I think it's double Annie stun, triple Rakan knockup. Buys enough time to allow the Ornn to come into the fight. He gets the kill too. It's a bit of a problem for LNG. If the Ornn can get a little bit of gold, makes it a lot harder for the Rumble to hold that matchup, and it'll get Hoya through to his first item more quickly.
The good news for LNG is that it was Haichao who picked up the kill for them, at least. So the Azir, obviously a very good user of gold, scales in a lot of different ways. I'll look at this replay again. Look, there's Aki. Meaty comes on over. What happens with this Vault Breaker? It's just... Oh, he gets the flash.
No, he gets it.
There we go.
It's good. It's just that the double stun into the triple knockup means that the follow-up is not that clean. Haichao gets the ult thinking that it will end up killing Setup quickly, and that's just not the case. They have to use a bunch of extra skills onto him. Setup walks a little bit too close, but the amount of time it takes to kill the Annie means that they can't really stay that long after. It ends up being a 1-for-1 after LNG chose the fight themselves.
And the right angle fight there. A right angle ult re-engage there from Hoya. Very clean indeed. Gets himself very early to that Spectre's Cowl, as you were kind of noting, saying that can be very obnoxious if you get ahead of the curve. And as it sounds, the gold is pretty much dead even. It's 100 or so apart. It's just flickering between even and slightly LNG favored. So as far as I'm concerned, it basically is.
1xn, chugging along fine just himself. So we are getting towards the point where LP on the Lucian will be able to take over mid lane. One item is really where you start to get a ton of work done holding mid lane. Grubs being started. Aki has Paranoia, aiming through these grubs well. Great thing about Nocturne is that you can use that passive so effectively on them with that AoE heal, and it keeps you very healthy taking the grubs, which not everyone can say.
The Umbra Blades, not to be confused with the Umbral Glaive. Always a big thing.
Yeah, there's also like Umbral Dash from Aatrox as well. There's a whole lot of Umbra. They like the darkness word.
It's a good one, to be fair. Now, all the while, of course, worth noting that 1xn didn't turn up to that fight, was just laning against the Rumble, ended about 10 CS, maybe more like 15 CS ahead, depending on how...
Also a decent amount of XP. However, that XP has now been taken out of Hoya, basically. Hoya is half level down on Zerka. I mean, again, Hoya, fine. He ended up getting that first kill. He's 10 CS down, he's XP down, but he's up in gold. And if he gets that first item, he's still happy. And he's not getting blown out in terms of XP either, right? And he'll be happy enough to get towards the point where he's getting those masterwork items through to his friends.
What he can provide value for. Of course, those ornaments can be pretty scary, especially the Ornn is just not threatened in the early game. The scaling of the Ornn is a bit more deceptive than sometimes you kind of credit for, just because the value of ornaments just coming across the whole team is really, really good, and especially when you're saying, hey, maybe a little shy on the damage. The Ornn items just give you that extra bump where sometimes you need it. But people like the Annie and the Nocturne have a bit more burst. The Xayah, who's going to be required to pump out a lot of DPS, get a bit more space and that. And again, I don't know how easy the Xayah game will always be when you have to like throw out feathers and play at a relatively short range into Rumble, Azir, Lucian.
Yeah, no, it's a hard game.
Can be a bit tricky.
That being said, 1xn played a very difficult game out in the Sivir last game and still made a good amount of impact in that game, despite the fact that TT weren't in the best position with that draft. 1xN, I think it's an easier draft in some ways than the last one. Sivir into Jarvan with an Aurora is pretty nasty. Hang on, there might be a pick over the wall. Here comes the file.
Baby.
Out.
In they go, flashing forward, Setup flashing away himself, stays alive, now they're turning it around with the paranoia. Glacier Fisher over the wall, bought some time, but there is Feather as well, looking to get some value onto that Rumble, who has rumbled in the jungle too hard and goes down.
Nocturne gets the pick onto the flashless Zucker, who tried to use it to follow up on that Annie kill. Satab makes it out alive. Yes, uses the flash. They have the Ionian boots though, so it's on a lower cooldown. LNG don't get the kill, and TT pick up the pieces. Aki, there were questions about how he would perform on TT because he came in from a bad split on NIP. He's a player which has drawn a lot of flack over time for being very, very streaky. Worth remembering, though, this guy has had some great upper-tier moments on the likes of OMG 2023, going in towards NIP in the last iteration as well. And he's had, I would say, a good series today. So initially, good pick up over the wall. Braum using the stand behind me, actually, to give the extra resist so towards Xiaofang. But right here, manages to flash out, turn out the lights. Braum doesn't manage to get the kill with the ultimate, uses that over the wall, and they've just way overinvested.
Glad that ends up picking it up, so sad for Aki on that front. But hey, you'll take the kill where you can get it, and an overplay from LNG leads them a bit awkward there. Too much to be seen as it stands.
We're at one item for almost everyone now as well. Hoy will be getting that likely on his next return back to base. Nothing to fight over just yet. 2 minutes till Dragon, 3.5 minutes till Herald. TT, a team which I have a lot of admiration for, I suppose, in some ways. I've got a soft spot for TT. That's what I want to say. A team which has always been plucky. They've had a difficult year. Beitron left them, and it left them without their leader, basically. Beitron obviously went on to BLG, didn't achieve as much there as he would have liked. He did make a finals, did make it to MSI, and made it through to top 4 at that event, but BLG have very high standards, and not really what they wanted. And TT were left rudderless, which for me, it's quite hard to take in some ways, because players like 1xM, like Feather, who are, you know, very new to the LPL, all things said and done. It's 1xN and Feather's second year within the LPL. They are prodigies, I think, which we will see more of in the future. But it's hard to really judge them now because this team's had to rebuild mid-year with one of their most important pieces gone. They parted ways with UCal, who went over to the LCK in off-season proper between 2024 and 2025. Of course, that was mutual, and it was hard to see UCal go, who was the flag bearer for the region, not the region, for the team for such a long time. And now they've started to try and build again. I have a soft spot for them, and I do hope that they can make something stick together. On the other side, LNG, they have kind of lacked that spark for a little while too. They're similarly in a rebuilding phase.
See how it all works. And again, rebuilding has been a bit of a weird byword for the LPL this year. We've seen a lot of panic switches, random switches, rosters not working, drama behind the scenes, and again, coming into the summer, a lot of big shifts. No team really is keeping all the same players they had in spring, with realistically only exception being anyone's legend. I think everyone else has made some shift, I think.
Yeah, Team WE and anyone's legend, they've stayed the same. Pretty much everyone else has made changes. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if LNG changed anything from last split to this one.
Xiaofang was there?
Mate, it's pretty hard to keep track of like 16 rosters.
I know, I'm having a moment.
Especially when LNG only played 5 best of 3s last split, being in Group Nirvana. It was actually quite hard to remember that one. Hoya, Draw roaming in.
Oh, nice little flank angle will force the flash off LP, who does not have mid lane control.
Now, Hoya's dropped the top wave 4. This Dragon's going down. Hoya could teleport back up towards top lane. He's going to walk his way up there too. Has the Kanik Rooken. He has that first item. Little worried that he's left a bit early now, though. The Ornn isn't here.
TP right back where they came from. Ornn also TPing in. Feather potentially in danger against the battle dance where hit by the Glacial Fissure, but now in comes the Ornn Horn. Aki gets to go on forwards and they blow up LP. The flash blown earlier is hyper valuable, and Thunder Talk pounce. The lightning strikes twice for a double kill.
Draw is not doing enough with this shield to block the Braum ultimate. It's going to be 2 kills to the side of TT. Feather's going in for another knockup. I'm not sure there's not a follow-up beyond that, and indeed there won't be. It will be Dragon to TT, 2 kills to them as well. And I'm really questioning the positioning of both LP and Dwo in regards to each other, because the Ornn is going in, as you were rightfully saying earlier, that 90-degree arc, going in from one way, then pushing it to the other side of the fight, so Braum can't block the reactivation of it either. LNG are not stopping Hoya having impact. He's having a great series here. MVP game 1, Ornn, massive value game 2.
He's doing it during the paranoia, so it's a 90-degree shift while you can't damn well see him. It's a nightmare to track.
Yeah, very topical for Nocturne as a champion, really. Use it your dreams. He is the sleep paralysis demon. So we'll go back into this again. I thought Hoya had left a little too early. He teleports in though, the paranoia comes in. Don't quite get the stop on the culling, but yeah, Lucian's just burned that flash. And look at this ultimate. The Braum doesn't get the shield. I don't know whether it was used earlier. Maybe they thought he wouldn't be there. The Braum not using the shield to block the Braum, the Ornn ultimate is a huge difference maker here. TT really getting their CC down.
Don't get me wrong, Haichao on this Azir, something he's very comfortable, very confident on when he was one of those kind of up-and-comers. This was one of the picks he was finding a lot of value on, up a fair amount of CS. They're starting up the Herald right now, and I think TT go over the wall, see what's going on, but decide, you know what, we're not in a position to fight this, we'll give that one up.
Also, hello as to one of our regulars in chat as well. Hello everyone who is a regular in chat on time. We're equal opportunity helloers. Having going to spot out the recall. Not going to be able to stop it. This was the recall of the animation split apart as the door is flown off to the side while we're walking. So I remember has the Mechanic Rook and happy to take quick trades like that. And this is one of the reasons why the Ornn can be a real problem for the Rumble around the 1 item mark.
Again, as the game goes on, it becomes trickier again, and before some of those items are built, you can hit a lot of those Electro Harpoons and Wave Control and all these things. But for now, Hoya's having another very good game.
Yeah, he is. He is also similarly a streaky player. TT have a number of individuals which have ups and downs. Setup can also be included in that list. Feather's going to have his recall stopped. Paranoia, level 2 now, means that the range is increased. It's increased the range. You need to play like the Exorcist theme or something. Tell you, I was speaking of that, I was watching, I hadn't watched it for a while. I watched the Autopsy of Jane Doe again yesterday, and it was, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It's, okay, I have to say, less good on the second watch than the first one when I knew the twists and stuff. Feather's caught alone, and so I don't really think they want to pick him off though. How's going to be summoned to the top side? Haichao's going to quickly drive that into the turret. And they'll get themselves first turret of the game, and feats of strength now going to be down to the next objective.
That will be interesting, actually. And of course, because TT have the grubs, they won't be able to trade that out. But Hoya should be able to at least get the turret here, just not the first one. That's where I was trying to go with that statement. Xiaofeng, though, paranoia pop, will not quite jump. They've lost vision, but now they've found another angle. It's Haichao's in danger, forced to flash.
Didn't want to ult in case it was spell shielded. Flashes for the shuffle instead. They'll get something out of it. Not the ult they were really looking for, but they'll take it, I guess, given everything.
It's a minute and a half until next Dragon, so I think
it'll
probably be up in time anyway. It's level 11.
And also, because that ultimate's going top side, LNG weren't sending anyone bot side to deal with the push. Hoya gets a outer turret kill, so he's once again ahead in gold compared to the matchup against Zucker. He's really happy with how this game is going, the Ornn. Yes, down a little bit in terms of XP, but it's a water under the bridge now at this point, really. TT, 1,000 gold ahead. I think it's fair to say that they do scale pretty well. The only issue is for TT is if they lose the Xayah in an unexpected kind of freak pick or a really good combo from LNG. If 1xN goes down, the damage goes down with it.
Or if we start hitting the point where you burn Annie ult, Nocturne ult, Ornn ult to kill off, say, Jaw, and that's it. And then suddenly Azir consistent damage, Vi consistent damage, hell, the Rumble, the Lucian get to start turning things around. Then you get problematic points. And we do sometimes see that with those kind of really big wombo combo comps. If we only start getting one kill and take two to do it.
Force the flash here.
Didn't mean to curse you like that, mate. I was joking. Don't go dying like that. Without the ult being popped, and now the equalizer comes on down. Feather.
Good discipline. Very good discipline. Could have pulled the flash, could have pulled the ultimate, just needed the ghost. They're going to walk up again. Jordan needs to be careful. He doesn't have shield.
Yeah, about to say he doesn't have his resists anymore and does not enjoy that in the slightest.
So Braum often goes 3 points in Q and then maxes the shield afterwards, but he's still only level 7. He's not going to have more than, you know, 1 point, 2 points into that E. And that's a good flash blown by TT. Has the spell book, he'll get another summoner in its place. Dragon spawning now though, and LNG without equalizer, without culling, won't really be able to fight this. They'll have to find another play to make.
They will. Aki now going to start attacking that dragon a little bit. This would be feats of strength for them. Doesn't look like we're going to have any contest. Xiaofeng over on his Braum, saying, look, we're giving this one up. Get some shove, we'll play to scale. And in fairness, they've got that option if they have to.
Dragon easily taken. TT still again maintaining a gold lead at about 1,000. most of that being on the AD carry. Mid lane is over to the side of Haichao. We see this a bit from Annie players, though. As long as Annie gets the 2 items, she's fine. You can definitely have games where Annie gets a lot of farm, gets a ton of value, but it's still completely fine to say, look, Ornn gets the farm, Xayah gets the farm, they're more important than me this game. That's one of the reasons why I think Annie's been high priority. Great early game, options in mid and late game. You don't have to strap yourself into one style.
No, you don't. And again, also, Haichao's just laned quite well. They picked up a lot of farm. He's ahead of the 10 CS a minute mark right now, pulling a bit of a Chovy. We had the 11 CS a minute. Azir is becoming more and more common out in the world. Atakan about to spawn. Thunderdog thinking of starting it here. They are. Here we go.
Okay, so Atakan started up. LNG, they'd have to go through vision to get here.
Boy.
TT, look, this is still throwable. They are only 1,500 gold ahead. Teleports come in. Atakan's going to fall low. LNG, do they? No, there is 5 members. This is under half HP. TT could potentially rush this now.
Feather pull now coming down to 3k. Can they find a way on in? Where, oh, where is the jungler? Down to 2. Taken. Nice pull back on the feathers. Now looking for another engage. Zucker can potentially find a good equalizer. Setap with the stun on 2. In they go with the paranoia. Still trying to get the kill. Does get LP. Aki might well be trained, but another stun comes on down and prevents the follow of the soldiers slide away, but to what avail? LNG, though, begin to turn it around as Haichao and the flames better come on through. Haichao still doing some work. Maybe needs to put some more soldiers down. Just can't do it because 1xn murders more.
They don't get the pick onto the Xayah, and Xayah cleans up. 4 for 2 in the fight. Atakan and LNG playing the game without vision and without knowledge of that Atakan. The objective goes down. They can't contest. It'll be a mid turret as well. This game just fell off the cliff's edge for LNG. It was a 1k lead before, goes up to a 3k lead, plus the tower, plus the Atakan bonus as well.
All start, Hoya seeing a bit of an engage, and they go on in, and I worried about a potential equalizer turnaround, but set up with that flash. Didn't quite catch Haichao, but otherwise was pretty fantastic.
But, I mean, Vi is already kind of zoned off. 2 members have been caught out too. The fight gets split, and LNG just don't have enough left in the tank for the combo at this point. 1xn ends up ulting, so the Vi doesn't get the knock-up on the pass-through. Gets a ton of feathers down. He's running the Conqueror, so he gets a ton of extra stats as the fights go longer as well. He's just very cleans up shop.
Yeah, because again, often you see the lethal tempo on the
It's a bit split. It's a bit split,
especially with Rakan, actually, because you can get a lot of value at the level 1 with the W and stuff, but Decides, I think, this time around for the Conqueror and getting a lot of value as extended fights is required.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Conqueror's still good, right? Because you get a ton of attack speed from your W anyway, so it's like, well, I'll just get the better stats, and 10 gives you pseudo life. Still paranoid pulled again, going on to the flashless fight.
Oh, baby, and the unspeakable horror comes on down, the battle dance, the grand entrance, the quickness, the combo comes on through, Setap was jumped on, but the Ornn Horn is here. And unfortunately, this brass band is playing you out at your funeral. Nice kill, and a double for 1xm.
Yeah, the soldiers just there as a funerary procession for the Emperor of Shurima. Rumble will get a turret on the bot side of the map. It is technically a trade, but they are still down a little under 3,000 gold. Inner turret will get taken as well to put them back over that 3k mark. Ornn items are coming in. 1xn had that upgraded Essence Reaver for that fight. 5-0-2 on the Xayah. And LNG, while I think they have been more proactive than their last series, and I'm glad to see that, they are clearly not making the right plays and the right setup on the map. They don't have the right vision. They're split apart. Fires without the flash, and it's a very good pick from Aki. That level 11 ultimate gives you much bigger catch radius. Manages to go straight onto that Vi, and yeah, Haichao pulls out the ult, but gets whacked from downtown by the Ornn. Uses the ult, which hits no one as it's backsteps. Haichao, sadly for him, not Chow-Ving this game.
Just saying, I'm quite pleased with that brass band at the funeral line.
I
thought that was quite smooth on the fly.
What about the funerary procession?
That was also really good. We had a really good follow-up. We did a really good job there.
Sorry, sometimes we're pretty good at doing this whole casting.
Yeah, so they tell us.
And what we're doing right now is being very humble.
No, absolutely
not at all narcissistic. Occasionally. 2 minute until Dragon would be soul points or CC. And yeah, I mean, look, you still haven't been able to force the summoners out of a 3,000 gold lead Xayah, who has 3 items, Infinity Edge, and upgraded Essence Reaver. So if you stack Conqueror, you're going to have even more AD. They're trying to catch out Hoya. He has ult.
I don't know about this one,
yeah, me neither, buddy.
Paranoia now coming. Where are they looking? Potentially a Zucker. Sundis comes on forwards. It's very deep now from Matthew. Backs away. Knocked up. This comes on through. That time the shield prevents the Ornn Horn. Damage might be a bit far.
Oh, the stun!
But look at Xayah doing some work. The stun was good. 1 for 2 right now. Top and jungle in danger. It's potentially some value coming on through. They lose Aki. They lose Feather. But at least kill off Haichao. Messy from Thunder Talk.
It's still a good fight from LNG for sure, but the stun from Setap stops it from being any worse. If Haichao had been able to catch the Xayah after that play, play. I think it would have been a potential turnaround for LNG, especially with Baron just around the corner. Maybe they could push in and look to set up around that. Dragon is available, though. LNG will try and rush down here. TT don't have a jungler right now. He'll be up in 15 seconds. TT will have to play defense of the objective and see if LNG try and retake the pit.
1xn, no flash, no ghost, no featherstorm. Very risky standing forward. Still gets the root and gets half of the HP of the Vi.
On the other side of it, no Vialt. And
Yeah.
1xn says, alright, you can queue into me if you want. You don't win those. Upgraded boots now as well from the Feats of Strength. This Xayah has tons of stats.
Highcharge just TP topside. What are they looking for? Are they looking for tier 2? Are they looking for Baron?
I think they want tier 2 into setup for Baron. Dragon is being potentially taken by 1xn right now. You can just take it by himself, or maybe a half a HP buff. You have 3 items, you have Ornn upgrade giving you more AD as well, and you also have Infernal Dragons buffing you up, and the Conqueror if it stacks too. 1xn does get completely blasted here, the ult force early, and that's why I thought Haichao might be able to make the big play. The stun arguably saves the game here, saves the fight.
That would have been 1xn down.
That could have been the road. Could have been the road where he flashes to get the AD carry. Not quite able to do so there because of that stun. Setup saving his AD carry.
Clutch stun. Again, we said he was going to playing a bit more of that utility, and he's still getting a decent amount of farm here, but again, he is behind Haichao in that regards, but still, now in a very scary spot. Finally, Zucker's taken a bit of a lead here versus the Ornn, up a couple thousand gold.
He got that side lane play where he can get the tower in the side lane, whereas Hoya's just been continually coming to the plate. I will say though, Hoya still getting XP. It's given out a second upgraded item now of the setup. The Bloodletter's Curse is now been upgraded as well. We're going to get found out by Vi. Takes a bit of a chunk. Tanky enough though. Doesn't really care about it that much. Baron at the angle. Aki on vision. I think TT needs to be aware that this is a very common concept within League. If the enemy team has been playing around one side of the map, they will leave wards. You know that Haichao just pushed out top lane. They're going for the engage.
Oh, here we go. Paranoia's down. Doesn't get that much value till quite yet, but the fear's still there. Flash over for the stun setup again. The Azir is confounded and taken out as 1xn is the one who confirms the kill.
And there's no counterpunch. With the Azir down, I don't think they have the damage to take a team fight. They must contest this anyway. It is all in the back of a big equalizer and that Vi ultimate.
Needs to be good. Remember, all the shreds from the Baron can still get scary. Thunder Talk wanting to place one out. The Ornn coming on down though. Braum Shield to knock up. As the Vi will try and find a way back in. Flash away from Xiaofeng, exhausted. Equalizer comes in, LP goes on forward, but what do as this Lucian? You killed off at least a ward. The Grand Entrance just shy. We'll at least get out alive. Vi charging up the Vault Breaker won't go over the wall.
I have not talked much about Lucian this game, and it's time we did. Lucian, 2.5 items to Xayah's almost 4,000 gold down. LP, I called him a good Lucian player in the Lucian Nami meta a while ago. LP has been destroyed this game. Xayah has been so much more impactful. I think part of that's a draft thing, part of that's a resources thing where a lot of side lane farm has been given to it, but this Lucian is just not impacting fights, and poor Azir here can't get anything done. Waits out the spell shield so he can ult the Nocturne away, but he doesn't have flash. He can't shuffle out because the Nocturne's in melee range of him, completely shut out of the game. And TT with the Baron buff now will make LNG's life very, very difficult.
Setup just comes in from downtown. The Azir wall comes up and he goes, right, flash stun with the Disintegrate. And somewhere out there, I say this pretty much every time I see it, but Darth Vader's very disappointed. That bounty hunter
No, Disintegrate.
goes for the Disintegrate. Looking at this tier 2 bot fight, minute and a half to solve. Baron's still rolling. This Xayah is ungodly fed.
I mean, you don't normally see a DPS check on a tower, but 1xn just took that tower in a single wave by pressing W. Like, watch, he'll do the same here. Look at this. This is insane. 3 grubs, a bunch of AD extra from the Masterwork items. They are not prepared for the amount of big structure damage that Xayah's doing here.
LP finally resets alongside Xiaofeng. They won't quite get the inhibitor, a little wary of a potential collapse, and I think that's probably fair. Level 16 now for 1xn, so that Featherstorm going to be an increasingly reliable cooldown.
I love the Molten Shield going on to 1xn there too, giving him a little bit of extra movement speed. You don't often expect that from the Annie, but if Rakan goes forward, activates Xayah's W, and then you get the Molten Shield and the Ghost, this is like a Peregrine Falcon of Xayah's.
He's real quick, and just a little bit of extra defense is no bad thing at all. Setup just get caught briefly there. Doesn't lead to all that much. Hoya also at this point very tanky. A lot of the pen items just haven't been able to be bought. You've got a Black Cleaver and a Bloodthirster or Bloodletter.
Sam, there is a mortal reminder on Lucian. It's still doing that much damage.
Yeah.
So
just saw that one get picked up.
Sam, it's even worse because when I saw that damage, I thought, still a 2-item Lucian. That's a 3-item Lucian doing that amount. Hoya has a ridiculous amount of stats. Remember, he's given that, the Black Cleaver over to Aki in terms of the, wait, what was it called? The Obsidian Edge is what it used to be called, I'm pretty sure. The Masterwork item. Every time he gives an item over, he ends up getting an extra 10% HP, armor, and magic resist. He is hyper scaling. One more level until he gets an extra 40% total, I believe it is. All in all, teleport in, trying to fight around the dragon right now. I just don't see how LNG have the damage, and TT could actually just leave this and take an inhibitor if they really wanted to.
Don't need it. Hoya's going to pick up that turret, still has the TP, and remember, with the Ornn coming from an unusual angle, the Ornn horns, the Call of the Forge God, could well be there to melt LNG down into their constituent parts.
See how strong the anvil of TT is.
The triple knockup afterwards. You can do no wrong. There's the Forge God coming on in. And unfortunately, they are smoked, delivered into the waiting arms of hell.
Smelted and quenched. LNG have been sent back to the slag heap. TT crushed through the fight, and Hoya, I think he's looking at a double back-to-back, a double MVP game back-to-back, and TT starting off this split 2-1. A good start to split 3 of LPL. Very confident team fighting from Thunder Talk.
That is nuts. I mean, it's very hard to talk about anything else here, because Thunder Talk, again, the first game was a little bit closer. It was a harder game to play out from the draft. This one, the composition, we said we liked how thematically in sync it all was. The side of LNG, that particular theme, that particular genre was a damn horror story. Certainly a horror show. Desire gets 2 feds. Yawn is a monster every dive, aside from 1-1 for 1 topside. Pretty much all TT all day. Thunder Talk will put LNG down. Another loss. 2-1 now with Thunder Talk. Revamp roster, new jungler again. Looking a little bit more like themselves. How far can they go down here in Nirvana? Welcome back, one and all. It's a 4-0 day. Relatively short. We get a nice chill one, Alex.
Yeah, it's a nice short day at the office there. TT will be very happy with that performance. It looked a lot more confident than their series versus EDG. Personally, I think that actually just shines EDG in a better light. I think EDG are looking like our strongest team currently in Group Nirvana. It is going to be a double round robin this time for Group Nirvana. So we had 2 teams drop out. We've got a little bit more leeway to have double round robin in the lower group. It was only 5 best of 5s per team for the bottom 6 teams in the last split. Bottom 6 teams again now, and its group ascend has shrunk a little bit from 10 teams to 8. And LNG back to the drawing board again. It was more proactive today, but the precision and the team fighting power was just not there. I really dislike their approach towards macro and objectives.
Now, before everyone leaves because the games are over, 3 things I need you to do for me. Number 1, follow the channel you're on. Number 2, follow all the other channels. That'll be the Twitches, the YouTubes, the TikToks. Follow me as well. I'm an Initialise cast on all those socials. It really does help us keep doing what we're doing. The more numbers we have, the more visibility we have, the more we can do this and get things like sponsors. Step 2, the bonus pal, for all of you out there. If you've got that capability to Twitch Prime, to regularly sub on the Twitch channel, to do the same for me, if you've got that capability, even my days, that would be wonderful. That would be great. Really does help us keep in business. Similarly, if you're not a Twitch viewer or don't really use that platform, consider donating to the Ko-fi link. We had a couple donations earlier today. It does make a huge deal. We'll make sure that link goes in all the chats because it's a really good way to help supporters. Is there anything else that I need you guys to join the Discord? There you go. Alex is on mine. Just stay in touch with the community. Makes a huge deal. If you see any cool clips, shout us out. Basically, we want to keep doing this, but again, it's just the 2 of us, and it's quite hard to do this because we've not done a lot of this before and a lot of growing streams, growing brands. It's a hard old grind, so thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, folks, well, that'll do us for today. Sam, you going to be streaming?
I'm not, because I have got to go pick up a book and I've got some admin to do. I would stream normally because it's Supervive launch day.
Oh, very cool.
Back out and live properly, but I think I'm just not going to have time, which is really frustrating.
No worries. Well, I guess I'll stick around for the MVP then and the highlights